Well, I guess they think we're going to save this place. And you know what? They're right, 100% right. We're going to save it and make it better, actually. So at ease, everybody, at ease. Enjoy yourself. Sit down if you can. If those are chairs, yeah, they are, in a sense. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be back in the great state of Michigan. And as you know, we had big victory in Michigan. And I won't forget it, and I'm not forgetting it. And I'm honored to be here at Selfridge Air National Guard Base with the men and women of the 127th Wing of the Michigan Air National Guard. Thank you very much for being here. This is great. It's a great honor, and a great honor for me. We've had such success in Michigan. I want to thank the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's doing a really great job. The Houthis will tell you that. He's doing a very good job. Major General Paul Rogers and Brigadier General Daniel Kramer of the Michigan National Guard. Commander of the 127th Wing, Brigadier General Matthew Brancato, thank you very much. Deputy Commander Colonel David Spihar, wherever you may be, David. Where's David? Hello. Hello, David. Where the hell are you, David? Oh, hello, David. Thank you very much. He's like the quiet type, right? But a killer, I hear. Command Chief Master Sergeant Bruce Hedrick. Bruce? Hello, Bruce. Thank you very much, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Great job. For decades, they've been trying to save this facility. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just recently, because I heard about it recently from some people, including your governor, who has done a very good job. She came to see me. That's the reason she came to see me, by the way, to save Selfridge. And she was very effective, along with some of the other politicians and some of the military people. They love this place. They love what it stands for, all the victories they've had here over the years. So I want to thank Governor Gretchen Whitmer for bringing it also to our attention very strongly. And, you know, I'm not supposed to do that. She's a Democrat. They say, don't do that. Don't have her here. I said, no, she's going to be here. She's done a very good job, frankly, and she was very much involved with the Republicans. They worked together on saving it, and it was not easy. So I want to thank you very much, Gretchen. Good job. Thank you. Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall worked with Gretchen and everybody else. Thank you, Matt. Great job you're doing, too. John James, as you know, is right now working on the great, big, beautiful deal. I said, do me a favor, John, just stay back there and let's get your vote. Let's not worry about this today. But John was fantastic, as were all of the other representatives that you have that are right now in Congress working very, very, very hard, actually. And Michigan Senate Republican leader Eric Nesbitt, thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much. Great job. Done a great job. But I want to thank all of the people that I just mentioned, but in particular, you know, when I look at the House members, they have been calling me all the time, we got to get it done. And they worked along with Gretchen and some others. And you're going to be very happy with what I have to say right now. I also want to thank Michigan's tremendous Republican delegation, the whole delegation, the whole state, because they're back in Washington and they're helping our congressman. And they're helping us get the votes that we need, because I think if we get it, we have the biggest tax cut in history, and if we don't get it, you have the biggest tax increase. And for that, I will blame the Democrats, because we probably won't get any votes from Democrats. Not for any reason other than we're Republicans, and the Democrats tend not to vote anytime we vote. The whole thing is so crazy. But it'll be the biggest tax increase in history if we don't get it. And that's why the Republicans can do it, but they have to stick together, and I think they are, from what I understand, really sticking together. I want to thank also Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and John Thune, Leader John Thune. They have been working together and with the senators and the Congress, men and women, and I think they've got something that's really, it's big league, and it's very important. The biggest bill ever, if we get it done, and I think we will. For decades, Selfridge Air National Guard Base has stood as a crucial pillar of North American air defense, just 20 miles north of Detroit, where you're going to have a lot of car factories opening very soon, by the way, I might add, with access to the largest military airspace complex east of the Mississippi. Selfridge is tightly integrated with the National All-Domain Warfighting Center. This airfield saw its first military takeoff all the way back in 1917. Can you believe that? Wow, wouldn't that have been a shame to close this great history for something else that wouldn't be as good? The Tuskegee Airmen trained here during World War II, and generations of Michigan patriots have served here with great distinction. Unfortunately, that proud legacy was put at risk by the retirement of the key aircraft based here, in particular the A-10 Thunderbolt II Warthog, which I hear is an incredible plane. It's too bad. It's a long time it's been up there. I said, why don't we save it? I actually said that last time, and we did save it. I said that in my last term, and we did save it, but now it's coming to an end. But I hear the Warthog is incredible. And we have support aircraft and also the KC-135 strata tankers. In recent years, many in Michigan have feared for the future of the base. They've been calling everybody, but the only one that mattered was Trump. They called Trump, and we got it done, which represents $850 million in economic impact across the state of Michigan, and probably it could be much more than that as we expand it out, and creates thousands and thousands of good and important jobs, both in the military and civilian jobs. So Gretchen, that's a big economic, you're not going to have too many economic development jobs like that. It's great. But today I've come in person to lay to rest any doubts about Selfridge's future and the vital role it'll play in our national defense. As Commander-in-Chief, I'm proud to announce that very soon we will replace the retiring A-10 Warthogs with 21 brand new F-15EX Eagle II fighter jets, the best in the world, fresh off the line. Brand new. And they have an expression, you know what that means, fresh off the line. That means they are brand new. They've never been anywhere. This is where they're going to be for a long time. And I saw one of them, it flew over my head, and I said, what the hell is that? That plane has serious power. So this is the best there is anywhere in the world, the F-15EX Eagle II. This will keep Selfridge at the cutting edge of Northern American air power. My administration will also continue with plans to replace the outgoing KC-135s and KC-46 Pegasus aircraft to continue that important refueling mission, and they'll be restocked with brand new top-of-the-line refuelers. For generations, the men and women of Selfridge have always been here, and they've always been for us. Whether you're Republican or you're Democrat, they've always been for us. They've been for America. And under the Trump administration, we're going to be there for you. The previous administration was willing to surrender Air National Guard fighter units across the country by retiring aircraft that were not being replaced. We are replacing. But under the Trump administration, we're correcting that injustice, and that starts right here in Michigan, where we have a big commitment to Michigan and to the state, even beyond this. This is an exciting time for the United States military. Since November, enlistment numbers for every branch of the armed forces have surged. Recruitment is now the highest it's been in 39 years. Now, if you remember that, you better hold on to those jobs, or somebody will take them. Somebody will take those jobs so fast. Hold on to those jobs. Don't leave that job. Who would have thought because prior to November 5th, which was Election Day, I was hearing that recruitment was so bad, it was so impossible, it was hard to get people. And this goes not only for the armed forces, for the police, for firemen. People are proud of our country again, big difference. But we had the worst numbers that we've ever had virtually. We couldn't get anybody, and now we're overstocked. We have waiting lists of people wanting to sign up and be with the military. They're proud of our country again. And I'll be supporting a record-setting $1 trillion investment in our national defense. We're going to go $1 trillion, the largest in the world, largest ever in our country, but no other country's invested that much. We have a $1 trillion budget for military this year, and we have tremendous plans, including increasing the scope of Selfridge. And I recently signed an order to begin construction of the Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland from missile attack. We're going to call it the Golden Dome. We had the Iron Dome, but somehow, Gretchen, Golden Dome sounds better to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not. What do you like better, Golden Dome or Iron Dome? What do you like better? Golden. Let's have a vote. Golden Dome. Oh, no, I think we're in trouble. Oh. How about the Iron Dome? Good. Keep it nice. Good. Because we made all the changes already. It'll be a little bit even the renderings look very golden, look beautiful. No, it's going to be incredible. The latest and the greatest. A lot of it's going to be made in Michigan. A lot of it is going to be made, the Golden Dome. You know, other countries have it. In particular, Israel has it. And we have a much more advanced, and theirs is very good. We helped do it. We did it. But we have an advanced version now that really is incredible what it does. We had a case study of 169. Out of 169, every one of them just shut down. And I think we're entitled to it, don't you? I think we're entitled to it as a country. America's military will soon be stronger and more powerful than ever before, and Selfridge Air National Guard Base will remain at the center of the action. And I just want to say we're building some of the greatest submarines and various other ships, but submarines in particular. We have a monopoly on great submarines. We're building the greatest in the world, most powerful machine ever built. And we're doing some things that are just incredible. In one way, you hate to do it, but in another way, you really have no choice. And we're fighting very hard on the China front and the Russia front with Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East, and a lot of good things. You're going to be hearing a lot of good things. It's a shame. When I left office, not so long ago, we had no wars. We defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years, they told me. Sir, it's going to take about 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. Raising Cain, he's now your top, you know, he's your top person. He's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And I did that because he was the one. He said, sir, we can do it in 3 weeks. I said, 3 weeks? They told me 5 years. No, sir, you can do it in 3 weeks, sir. And I said, let's see if you can do it. And he did it. He had a little time left over, actually. And ISIS was gone, totally defeated. And he's the man we wanted. That's the man I said, if I do this again, I'm going to put that guy in charge, because he did things that nobody else was able to do. And nobody else even thought it or even suggested. So I'm very proud to have him head up the whole military operation, along with Pete and some other great people. So I just want to say that Michigan, it's been my great honor to be here. I've had tremendous success in Michigan. Not all Republicans have, but I have. And not just this time either. We did tremendously well in 2020, and we did incredibly well in 2016. In 2016, they said it couldn't be won. You know, it couldn't be won, but we won, and we won by a lot. So it's a special place, and I don't forget my friends, and Michigan's been my friend. And I want to just thank everybody here. I want to congratulate you, actually, because there are a lot of people wanted this to happen to their neck of the woods, but it's happening for you. So congratulations, and God bless you all. God bless our military, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations.
only because the Commander-in-Chief invited me. Mr. President, thank you for restoring the warrior ethos inside our formations, for rebuilding our military, reestablishing deterrence around the world, and making Americans proud to wear the uniform. That recruiting surge we're seeing right now is because they know they have a Commander-in-Chief that has their back. That's my message to these men and women every single place we go. All I ever wanted when I was in combat was to know that my commander had my back, no matter what. And with Donald J. Trump, that commander has your back. And that means something to the men and women of America, and that's why we're seeing a record surge in recruiting. That's why we're locking down our southern border. That's why our enemies know we mean business, because we have a Commander-in-Chief that has our back, and he has the back of this base as well. God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, I hadn't planned to speak, but I'm on behalf of all the military men and women who serve our country and serve so honorably on behalf of the state of Michigan. I am really damn happy we're here to celebrate this recapitalization at Selfridge. It's crucial for the Michigan economy. It's crucial for the men and women here, for our homeland security and our future. So thank you. I'm so grateful that this announcement was made today, and I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's because of your leadership this is happening. No one else could save Selfridge. We've tried for decades. It took you, Mr. President. This is why the people of Michigan elected you, sir. You are not forgetting us. This is the first time in decades where we can all say Selfridge is winning. We are winning because of you, President Trump, and I know all of these troops here will not let you down with this new fighter mission, which will keep Selfridge Air National Guard base thriving for the next 30 to 40 years. Thank you, Mr. President, for remembering us and keeping your commitment when we saw you in Washington a few weeks ago. Thank you, sir.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for coming to Macomb County. Thank you for coming to Michigan. And thank you for providing another important service of the F-15X. This means that these folks are going to be continuing on the mission for America for the coming decades. Because of your leadership, America's back again, Macomb's back again, Michigan's back again, and Selfridge will be leading the way. Thank you, Mr. President, for showing that leadership.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Welcome, everybody, to rally season again. Oh my gosh, it used to be so much fun covering the Trump rallies. Those of you guys who used to watch them with me, I used to love it. It was just 2 hours, 3 hours of just nothing but adulation and fun. And I'm so happy he's decided to do yet another rally, and I'm happy you guys chose to watch it with me. So what you were just watching, as you know, the rally is tonight in Michigan. President Trump decided to stop at an Air Force base or military base outside of Detroit and just address the troops there. A quick 15-minute, speech to them, let them know that he's got more equipment coming up. So that's fine. Wanted to jump on. That was on tape delay. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So tonight, just to let you know, programming here, 5:30, I've got Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital coming on. I'm going to talk about the markets. A lot of stuff happening. I don't know if you've been following along today, but Howard Lutnick went out there and kind of like let something out and said, a deal has been confirmed with some country. By the time I turned on the show, I'm not sure if they've released the country yet, but Wall Street immediately went right up as soon as people heard there was a deal. So I don't know who it is. Don't know what country it is, but they're a deal. I know it's not China, but a country has agreed to doing something. It would be awesome tonight if President Trump on stage can announce who the deal is with. That would be great. So we got 5:30. We're going to be talking about the economy with Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital. Then, of course, at 6 o'clock, President Trump, so you won't miss a second of that. And I've got a ton of filler content. I mean, a whole bunch. So I think I'm going to start off. Let's start off with some stuff that happened today leading up to this rally, which is the media doing what they do. Got a couple of short pieces, and then it's all about President Trump in his first 100 days.
Heading back to the White House, Mr. Trump pledges to take swift and sweeping action to close the southern border and to deport millions of migrants here illegally.
Donald Trump's political career has been defined by his promise to deal with illegal immigration.
My administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history.
We've seen illegal border crossings drop 98%.
The southern border now, under his leadership, has the lowest number of illegal crossings in the history of the United States of America.
We are the face of why there is becoming change. President Trump, thank you.
He's a man of his word.
He wants to get rid of fentanyl. He wants to make sure that we stop the killing of innocent Americans.
President Trump was able to do in 7 weeks what the Biden administration couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. Right now, as you and I are talking, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation, but it turned out that all we really needed.
Days into President Trump's term, just 41% approve of the job he's doing in our new CNN poll, and just 37% approve of Republicans leading Congress. Are those serious warning signs for your party?
I think, Wolf, that the American people have been unhappy at least for 10 years. That's why President Trump was elected the first time. They weren't happy rather under President Biden, in part because of inflation, and their unhappiness continues. We'll see what happens over the next year. in terms of the president's first 100 days, it's hard to find the honey and the rock and the water and the stone in 100 days. But having said that, I think President Trump's done some things right in his first 100 days. He's secured the border. He's been very aggressive in abolishing racial quotas. He's deregulating the economy, getting rid of rules and regulations. He's changed the national conversation about the federal budget. He and Mr. Musk. Under President Biden, the conversation or the question was, who needs to pay more in taxes? Now, thanks to Trump and Musk, I think the question in Washington and elsewhere is what the hell happened to the money? The final point I would make, you may find a little strange, but it has to do with Europe. President Trump, as we all know, exists loudly. And his loud existence has awakened Europe with respect to its economy and its national defense, national security. We're seeing dramatic changes there, and I think it's possible that a decade from now, the Europeans, they may not say it, but they'll look back and actually thank Trump for awakening them from their economic and national security slumber.
The White House framing this first 100 days as a smashing economic success. Shaq, the polls show otherwise. You've spoken to Trump voters there in Michigan. Where do they land?
Well, Anna, in my conversations with Trump's biggest supporters here, they acknowledge the reality that you guys are talking about. They see and feel the impacts of the tariffs. They see the softening market, the looming price increases because of the tariffs, but they say they are sticking with him for multiple reasons. One, they say this is what he promised on the campaign trail. It came as no surprise to them, even with the impacts that we're talking about. And two, they say that this is something that they believe in. It's a mission they ultimately believe in and a goal of bringing back manufacturing to the United States. Listen to how his supporters explained it to me.
Nobody likes to pay more for anything. I don't. But in the long run, I think it's going to be good.
The tariffs, they don't scare me at all. My money went down just like everybody else's. My investments in there coming right back up. It doesn't faze me a bit.
I know that as a country we owe a lot. You know, we're in a lot of debt, and if those tariffs are going to help bring back more to our economy, I'm all for it.
Anna, in some cases, you heard some of his supporters essentially repeating the analogy that he uses sometimes when he talks about a sick patient, in that you might have some tough moments in the beginning, but this is ultimately going to lead to a country that is stronger and healthier. It's clear that his base is sticking with him, even as when you look at polling among the general population, this is an issue that shows to be pretty risky for his presidency.
He's about even on immigration in total, but everything else, he's sort of underwater. And particularly on the economy, tariffs, and inflation, he's well underwater. You've still got some work to do on that front. A lot of people think that he's spending too much time on tariffs and not enough time on the economy and lowering prices. What do you say?
Well, I don't want to make things awkward for you, John, but it is our opinion that Fox News needs to fire its pollster. And I won't surprise you with that. I don't think you're surprised that I'm saying that. But the Fox News pollster has always been wrong about President Trump. They were the ones that said all summer long that Kamala Harris was going to be the 47th president of the United States. So we don't acknowledge any of that polling.
Well, first of all, he's...
So let me underscore what Stephen Miller just said. We don't recognize any of that polling. We're not even paying attention to any of that polling. Everybody who's Trump supporter knows it's all BS. It is a psyop. I saw that Mark Mitchell appeared on Benny's show, and he's like, it's all BS. They have nothing. They will have nothing. So all they're doing is just making stuff up and trying to get people on their side to feel comfortable that Trump's support is actually waning. It's not going to work. It's not working. Nobody believes it. Nobody can. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to Robin. I have never seen a president, Republican or Democrat, who's been this transparent, this open. He's everywhere. And again, the word I've used for months now is contrast. These people don't understand. We went from a guy who you'd never see. He was eating oatmeal at 6 o'clock. And President Trump is flying around the world. He's doing sometimes 2 or 3 different events. He continues to work on behalf of America. And if you want to look at some polling, CNN, MSNBC, you might want to look at, the Democrats. Because if you want to say President Trump's poll numbers, using your own numbers, are 40-ish, 42, have you checked the Democrat polling? Because if you check the Democrat polling, you guys would be sounding the alarm and screaming at the top of your lungs. You're down about 22%. So even if you want to believe that President Trump's numbers have fallen, he still is in a landslide position compared to the Democrats. But somehow you don't want to support that. You don't even want to report it to anybody. You don't want anyone to know that the Democrats are completely in the toilet. Done. They're absolutely done for. And today's going to be devastating for the media. Absolutely devastating. You see thousands upon thousands of people screaming in the stands. Back to the old days. I don't even know why he just doesn't keep doing this. Every other weekend, forget the press conferences, just do a rally. Do it, just keep doing it. Once a week, twice a month, whatever you can fit in, keep doing rallies. I think he's got that in his veins. He knows this works. And I think tonight when he walks out on stage and he sees all these people out there, man, he wants that. Mainline that, man. Just keep giving me more of that. Caroline, just keep booking this stuff. Because listen to what some of the people had to say today.
And more in the first 100 days than I've done in my 38-year career. So he's great to watch. But I really love the cabinet meetings. He lets the American people into those rooms. We get to observe the questions and the answers, know what they're doing. It's really a way that he connects with the public, and I think that's so important. Negotiating, his skills are unbelievable. You remember when he was negotiating for the Boeing jet, and he talked about how he wanted it under, I think it was $300,000 or something. He got it to $299,999.
Well, because the man knows planes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'd like inflation to come down a little more, but I'm patient. I think we need to be patient because he's going to get it done. He's got the stomach for it, and we just got to be behind him 100%. So just keep doing what you're doing, President Trump. We love it.
I'm Canadian, so if you want to know, Canada 51st state works for me.
Wow, President Trump, you hear that if you're watching? We found one. Thank you. We're live right now. What do you guys think is the best thing the Trump administration has done so far in the first 100 days?
Our border.
The border.
The immigration law, baby. Get them out of here. Yep.
And Doge, huh?
Doge.
Are you guys going to miss Elon Musk when he's gone?
Absolutely. Doge will still be here.
Okay,
all right, so what would you say the number one topic that you voted for that has been addressed so far this administration, this time around?
How long is the show? Borders, fossil fuels, the VA, military, respect. And we got a leader back in the White House.
Let me stop you for a second in case you see some of the people on X or Twitter talking, the same old stuff. Notice you're hearing these people. What you're not hearing is Epstein. What you're not hearing is Diddy. What you're not hearing is any of the stuff that you see some people, who I call the Confederates, out there talking about. He's working on the prioritization of America. I got to get these tariff deals done. I got to get the immigration stuff done, get these newcomers out of here. I got to make our military top notch. All these things are way, way, way more important than some list. He'll get to that. That ain't going anywhere. But the stuff he's working on, as I've said many times, is being worked on to make your life better. See, that's the first and foremost priority that the president has, is to A, keep you safe, and B, help you improve your life. That other stuff, yeah, Pam or whoever she assigns it to, I want to see it. I'm not going to forget about it, but it's not a priority. And it's not a priority for these people either.
I call it a true commander-in-chief, because we are respected again. And haters will always hate. The American people are not fools, and they saw what the first 4 years of Trump, what he did, especially in tariffs.
Right.
Be a little patient. The first 4 years, he did it. He did the tariffs, our economy, and we were like, we have more jobs than people. We actually did.
I am totally excited. Everybody I know is excited. My biggest issue is the border, and he's killing it. Well, absolutely, everybody that's here illegally should go. I'm not one of these that, oh, the poor person. No, they need to go. They came in illegally.
The president's not. See, they don't want to hear that. That's driving the media crazy. I don't care what I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. You got to go. You're not supposed to be here. I see Kevin is logged in backstage here, so I'm going to run a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So many of you know that I have a partnership with Lear Capital with this show, but unlike most people have sponsors or partners, I love talking to Kevin here because it's about business as well. And in the last couple of days, as I've shown you with Scott Bessent and what's been going on, it's very, very important that you understand what you should be doing and how you can set your family up. And with everything that's going on in this economy right now, I decided today would be a good day right before this show, before the rally starts, to get Kevin on and start talking about what's going on with the economy. I've got Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital. Kevin, can you hear me?
I can. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you're a little bit loud. Let me go ahead and turn that down. All right, happy 100 days. It must be quite busy for you. So let me jump right into it. Like over the last 5 days, gold has been, it's been looking like a heartbeat per se. It moves a little bit, but it's been mostly stagnant, 1% down, 1% up. But over like the last 5 to 10 days, it's actually been up. So it seems there's a bit of a hedge right now because of the unknown stuff about the tariffs. What do you think people are waiting before they actually do something?
Well, yeah, Barry, you're absolutely right. Markets don't go up in a straight line. If they did, we'd all become, rich overnight. So, there's always some volatility. But I think gold has been consolidating because investors are in a wait and see mode. I think the market is waiting really for clarity on two fronts. First is President Trump, officially going to ease some tariffs on China and some of the other countries. I mean, I believe, and I said this in previous interviews, I think some of this is a tactic to really get these other countries in line and make it fair trade between, the United States and whatever country that we're talking about here, especially with China. So I think they're waiting for that. And then I also think they're waiting for some economic data that could influence the Federal Reserve's next move with interest rates. So clarity between those two things before any bigger bets are really made. But this really, in my opinion, creates kind of a buying opportunity because long-term, the gold price is increasing from central bank buying and huge amounts of debt. The U.S. dollar's been falling, and all the money that was created, in COVID, that's creating that dollar to kind of fall a little bit here. So I think longer term, these things are kind of short-term things, and longer term, the price is going to go up regardless. And that's why you're seeing projections from the institutions out there in the $4,000, $4,200, $4,500 range by the end of the year.
Wow. 4,500. I mean, Howard Lutnick went on CNBC and blew up the market at the end of the day by saying there was a deal done. Didn't name which country. Maybe today Trump will do it at the rally and announce it. But how would, if it affected the market that strongly, just by saying there's a deal done, how does it affect the gold market and silver market if there's a deal done? Well, not, he said if. He said there is one done. Does it depend on the country? Does it depend on what the deal is? What happens tomorrow? Actually, gold trades 24/7. So what happens if he would come out on stage and say, yes, we have a deal with India or we have a deal with Japan?
Well, I think that would give people a little bit more, clarity on really what the plan is here. And then, yes, it would definitely depend on the country. I mean, the Philippines is different than China, obviously. So what's the deal? What industry is that deal really affecting is going to be some of the important items that really need to be fleshed out. I don't think you're really going to get anywhere in the next, 30 days. I think over the next 6 to 7 months, that's where the bigger deals are really going to start coming along. Now, we could see some in the next, 30 to 90 days, but I think it's going to take a little bit. There's all this posturing with all these different countries, especially China. They're kind of little olive branches. Hey, we're going to lower tariffs on, airline equipment, and then we're going to lower tariffs on, automobile parts and things like that. So I think you're going to get these little back and forths that's still going to cause a little bit of tension, and then the big one's going to hit where, okay, we sat down. We're not the ones looking like we came to the table first. I mean, nobody wants to do that. So you kind of go a little bit of back and forth with these politics until you're going to get something that we can really sink our teeth into, my personal opinion.
Okay. Scott Bessent yesterday, or actually over the last 2 days, has been talking a lot about how deregulation is going to be a huge boost to the economy. If you could, because he talks like at a level up here and people don't ask him the question, can you explain what deregulation is? And then if the deregulation happens, how does that boost the economy and gold and silver?
Yeah, I mean, basically deregulation just helps businesses function a lot easier because we have a lot of rules and regulations that we need to follow that cost enormous amounts of money. I mean, compliance just here in the gold industry, probably, 15 years ago would cost $10,000 a month. It's $110,000, $120,000 a month now. So if you lower the regulations that we need to follow, which some of them are just, they don't make any sense for the industry that we're in, because they make these regulations for all sorts of different industries, but they don't really apply to this industry. So you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole and do your best so the government doesn't come after you. And if that was cleared up a little bit, it just makes business so much easier. You're not worried about lawsuits. You're not worried about all these other things. So you can lower some costs and you can just do more business. In the short term, what?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the other part of the question is, what does it do to the economy, or what does it do to the markets? It's in the short term, I think deregulations tends to boost risk assets like the stock market because it, like I said, it lowers business costs and encourages growth. So while gold might pause in the face of this deregulation-driven optimism, previous periods of aggressive deregulation and tax cuts, we'd always have to go back to the Reagan era, really. We still saw much higher gold prices. And the reason for that is that when you increase gold or increase growth and you increase the amount of cash that was basically created in COVID, and back in the Reagan era, it was created after inflation, then the definition of inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. So if we break that sentence down, it's too much money. Well, the too much money came because of COVID and all the money that they just poured into the economy and have been pouring into the economy for quite some time. Chasing is what we call velocity. It's how many times a dollar changes hands through the year. So on average, you would see 5 or 6 times. If you get more velocity, if you get more deregulation and businesses going faster, then that money is going to change hands faster, and that pushes up prices. So you have the too much money, COVID, chasing, which is velocity, and then too few goods. So too much money chasing too few goods, and too few goods would be tariffs, kind of slowing down the amount of goods coming into the United States. That could be inflationary and potentially offset the deregulation. So they have to be very, very careful how fast they want business to go for the velocity, and then what tariffs are going to do for the other side of that equation on the too few goods part.
When people hear the word deregulation, especially people on the left, and there's people on the right not understanding, they think that business wants deregulation and it's going to cause unsafe conditions for Americans. Can you dispel that in terms of it's not like you're going to be doing extra pollution or anything? What kind of deregulation would help you in the gold market or the silver market?
Well, I mean, we have to follow the recording that we have to do for people just to purchase gold is almost 5 minutes. It used to be 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. What are people really interested in? They want to know what the fee is. They want to know, certain parts of the disclaimer. But then the government comes in and says, okay, you need to say all of this. Everybody needs to understand it. And it's 5 minutes long. You have to get it perfect. And then each individual state may have something a little different that I have to add in, which is an address. Who cares about my address when I'm on a recording? Nobody's writing it down. Right. But some states need that. Then there's states that need, okay, here's my license in your state that I need to talk about. Each one of those states have different rules and regulations to even get authorized to do business in those states. It just is very, very burdensome, and you're trying to keep up with each individual state and what's happening there, and then on a federal basis. It's extremely expensive. You need to get almost a full-time attorney in just for compliance to try to figure it all out. If you could pull back and say, what are people interested in? What are people most concerned about when they purchase gold? They want real gold. They want to know the price, and they want to know certain other things. Those are the big things. All this other stuff was just, it was done because other industries, other things were important, and has nothing to do with the gold market. So if we could get rid of those and just talk about the things that people cared about, that's what's happening. Now, look, deregulation also means that, yes, there are some people out there, maybe in the banking industry and so on and so forth, that say, hey, look, we don't want all these rules and regulations. We want to be able to, say and do certain things in our marketing that are prohibited now. And is that good or bad for people? I can't tell you, but people should have choices, and the government's prohibiting people from having choices because of so much deregulation.
Right.
I mean, that's the best way to really put it. If you had deregulation and you trusted people to kind of make some decisions on their own, as long as they had enough information, but look at a mortgage. You're trying to fill out your mortgage. Nobody reads 19, 20, 30 pages of that mortgage. If you simplified it and made it 4 pages, you've got a better chance of somebody understanding the most important parts of it. That's all regulation that was thrown in there that's absolutely meaningless and doesn't help the consumer at all. It's probably the best example I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, because I've been in real estate, I mean, mortgages, they bring out a stack like this, and you're just at closing, just signing and signing and signing every page. It would take you 4 hours to read everything that you're signing, and most people just want the keys, so I know exactly what you're saying. So he's talking about moving tariffs around, lessening it on certain items or certain car manufacturers. How will gold react to lower tariff on, say, cars? And why does it react at all? Because, I don't know, they're not using, well, I guess you can use silver in a car, but why would gold move around based upon lower tariffs on automobiles and trucks?
Well, look, I'm not sure it's just the lower tariffs on automobiles and trucks. I think it's the you're reducing the perceived risk of a trade war if you continue to lower tariffs in any of the big industries, right? Automobiles, AI, whatever it is, chips, those are big industries, and so you start lowering the perceived risk of a trade war. I think that's where you're really going to see more of a response, where people feel more comfortable about, okay, I can do business, we can get back to business, there's not going to be a recession. I think those things are positive, and they may be slightly negative for gold in the short term, but again, the price of gold has very little to do with these tariffs. It's uncertainty people don't like, and the uncertainty for structural issues like debt levels, inflationary pressures, what the central bank are doing out there, geopolitical risk. Those are bigger things that gold pays attention to than what's going to happen to tariffs today or tomorrow, other than the fact that if you add on a tariff, you may add on some higher costs, which could be higher inflation, and the gold price is going to react to that. But I just don't think the gold price has seen this increase just because of tariffs. I think it's uncertainty with a lot of other areas of the market.
So China reacted to the tariffs, or I don't know if they reacted to the tariffs, but one of their countermeasures per se is they started buying a lot of gold. I guess they were trying to force the T-bills to rise and not drop to try to affect the Federal Reserve. So are they still buying a lot? And what's their effect on the gold market when they stop buying and start dumping their gold as well? Or will that not happen?
Yeah, typically, well, first of all, typically when you see central banks purchasing, if you look at history, they purchase and they'll hold it for a minimum of 10 years, but mostly 15, 20, 25 years at a time. Mm-hmm. So we saw back in 1980, a lot of central banks adding huge amounts of gold to their reserves because inflation was fairly high through the 70s. Mm-hmm. You didn't see liquidations happen until the year 2000. Britain kind of started liquidating, and some other countries started liquidating, and then not too far after that, China came back into the market and started purchasing, which they hadn't been a buyer for years and years and years. And now everybody's back on the buying side of it. But yes, China continues to accumulate gold very consistently. Matter of fact, according to the World Gold Council, they've purchased, I think it's a little over 12.5 metric tons of gold in this first quarter. They've been selling treasuries to do that. So they've been dropping the dollar. The treasury rates have been going up, and the gold price has obviously, gone much higher. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see that changing. But it's not just China. It's Russia, Brazil, India. A lot of central banks have been purchasing. So we've seen record high gold purchase over the past 3 years. And here we are in 2025, and it's continuing. So again, when you look at the projections, Barry, from a lot of the institutional investors, that's what they're really looking at. I mean, central banks are bigger than any hedge fund or anybody out there that can purchase gold. So they're going to make a bigger difference in the gold market. And if you believe they're going to continue to accumulate, and they do hold for the next 10, 15 years, even if they held for the next 5 years, there's a tremendous opportunity for profitability on the gold side, also on the silver side, because silver follows gold. So in my opinion right now, silver is a better investment. But I think the central banks are not going to stop purchasing gold in the next 24 to 36 months because of everything that's happening in the economy around the world, by the way.
Now, what happens if the war stops in Ukraine and Russia, or it's forced to stop? Will that have any effect? Is that something we can look at and as an investor and say, hey, listen, that looks like it's going to end, do something or not? Is that an indicator at all?
Well, the central banks have been buying gold longer than the war's been going on. So I'm not sure that one single war is going to have any kind of huge effect. I mean, if that war was going to have an effect, it would already have an effect on the stock market. And so do you believe if the war stopped, it's going to affect the stock market all that much? I don't really. I don't think people are giving it they're not as concerned about it as when it started. And it kind of seems to be isolated, and just everybody's kind of spending some money, but it isn't really expanded and done a lot of the bad things that potentially people thought it was going to.
Right. So there was a bit of breaking news early this morning. I covered it on my early show with Scott Bessent and Caroline Levitt, that General Motors beat their Wall Street estimates, and is that, in your mind, going to make things more volatile, or will it increase the stability in the gold and silver markets?
Well, if you read that earnings call, and I did, GM's earnings beat expectations. So fantastic. They beat the expectations. Right after they beat expectations, their CEO basically said, we're going to suspend guidance for the rest of the year. So they've suspended all guidance, and they halted all buybacks due to the tariff uncertainties. So this is really a mixed message, strong operational results, but significant caution about the future regarding the broader uncertainties about tariffs and everything else in the market. So I don't think one earnings beat, even from a major company like GM, isn't going to erase kind of this larger, more long-term global risk that investors are concerned about, like inflation, debt, and a slowing global economy.
Okay. Did you see the jobs report come out today? I was looking to see if said it was supposed to be released today.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened, and how does that relate to all this stuff, jobs report?
Yeah, so, just reading it before we got on, and so the jobs report, there was a decline of 288,000 job openings. It's the lowest level since September 2024, and the drop was a little larger than anticipated. And really, this report to me was just kind of trying to beat up on Trump, because the very next part that they didn't talk about that I looked at were layoffs. So you think about job openings. How many job openings were created, and then how many people are laying off people? And despite this decrease in job openings, layoffs fell by 222,000. So you had a decrease of 288,000 in job openings, and then a decrease in layoffs of 222,000. It's almost a break-even type of deal. So it's almost a nothing burger, right? And then hiring saw an increase of 41,000, which is fairly low. It might be slightly negative, but the article's just like I said, it's a beat up Trump type of thing. And if the guy had half a brain, he would just give you the other half of the story, and it would be fine. But I think, Barry, from the jobs report perspective, which is extremely important to the economy, is really a win-win for gold in two different scenarios. If the next report comes out and is extremely strong, lots of job growth, then the Fed is going to pause interest rate hikes for fear of inflation, so positive for gold. If it's very weak, that's probably going to signal a recession. Then that's even better for the gold prices as interest rates come down, uncertainty goes up. So the only scenario that's kind of neutral for gold is the one that we had here, which is kind of this perfect balance of growth, but not too much growth.
Right.
But that's very, very hard to do. Usually the job reports are a little bit more, they're going to fluctuate more than this and scare people a little bit more. So if you start to see a recession happen, then we'll start to see a little bit, these numbers motor around.
You mentioned the Fed, and it seems like they're being reluctant, I don't know if it's political or not, to lower the interest rate. If they lower the interest rate in the next week or so, or because they're not going to raise it. So if they lower it in the next week or so, what would happen with the price of gold or silver in the economy, and what would happen if they don't lower the rate, they take no action?
Well, no, if you look at the market, nobody expects them to take action in the near term. I think they expect them to lower interest rates. It was 3 times this year. Now we're all the way down to 2. So there isn't much expectation if they don't do anything. I think it's just business as usual. But if the Fed cuts rates, then I would expect the gold and silver prices to move higher fairly quickly, because lower interest rates reduce the opportunity cost of holding a non-yielding asset like gold and silver. So if you think of other assets like a dividend stock or real estate that's paying rent, all of those things are very sensitive to interest rates because they're paying you something. So you don't mind holding them if interest rates are high, but if interest rates start to go lower, then things that don't produce an income for you or some sort of interest become a little bit more attractive. If I could put my money in the bank at 5%, I might do that. But if it's 1%, then I might say, hey, I don't really care about the one. I'll buy some gold because maybe it'll give me more than the 1%. So kind of the way it works. But I think a rate cut signals concerns about economic health, which typically also increases safe haven demand. So that would be more buying on the gold side. And we've seen this pattern before. You cut rates, weakens the dollar a little bit. A weaker dollar always tends to strengthen the gold and silver prices. So typically when you see the drop off in interest rates, the gold price reacts positively.
All right, well, Kevin, I'm getting ready to go. He's due up on stage in 10 minutes. He's never on time. But in any event, I want you guys to know how you can get in touch with Kevin and the people at Lear Capital. You can go to learberry.com or call 800-601-5430. But what I want you to let you know, because this question, and I see it in the chat again, every time we have Kevin on, we constantly have this question: how much do you have to get involved with gold or silver? So, Kevin, the obligatory question is: how much do you need? How much do you need to get involved with gold and silver, and which way should you go if you have a lesser amount? I know the answer, but I'm gonna let you take that.
Yeah. So the quick answer is you can invest any amount. You can go to our website and you can invest any amount that you'd like. If you have under $5,000, I would tend to do that because the minimum cost or commission or fee or whatever you want to call it when you have a person on the phone and helping you at right around $5,000 is just too much. So you're going to save a bunch of money if you go to the website. If you really want that help, we'll do it for you, not a problem. But we're trying to save you some money. So under $5,000, if you go to the website, the gold and silver on there at that price is going to be less than you're going to pay if you're speaking to a representative. Over 5,000, you're good to go, and happy to do that business. And also, Barry, just wanted to let everybody know, look, we have a new gold report out. It's Navigating Economic Crossroads, and it talks about a lot of the things that we talked about here, the tariffs, what do we expect in gold, what the central banks are doing, the factors that influence gold, and how to protect your retirement accounts and 401k accounts. So before people ask about how to purchase gold, I always tell them, you do a great job educating everybody. We want to do a good job educating everybody. The first thing to do is get the free information, read through it, understand everything about precious metals that you can. Ask us all the questions that you'd like, and then, go ahead with your investment. So please get the report first and find out what we're thinking about as far as gold and how to invest in the best possible way for yourself, and then make that decision.
I wanted to ask you if this is legal, because I get so many. I had an email from a lady this morning. A lady emailed me. I could actually show it to people. I'm not lying. She goes, I haven't seen the Lear commercial in like the last 2 shows. Are you still connected with them? Because I want to go ahead and make a purchase. And I'm like, yes, we're still working together. But I did. She just missed that particular show. If it's legal, is it okay for me to walk them through the website and do like a session and actually buy, or you're not supposed to do that?
No, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. That's what it's for.
If we had time, I would have just done it right here while you're on screen. But what I'll do, Kevin, because I get a ton of different people questioning, they're always wondering. The other day I did a real estate, I went deep and showed them how to look at stuff in Zillow. I will go to the Lear website and I will make a personal purchase, and I'll let you guys see how simple it really is, because if without having the broker or somebody on the phone to walk you through, it can be kind of a daunting thing if people aren't sure where to click. So I'll do that. I'll do an on-screen purchase, and I'll record it, and I'll put it in our community group where people can take a look at it. And I wanted to ask you that to make sure that was legal.
Yeah, that's legal.
Of course, I'll hide my credit card information, but just wanted to make that legal. All right, Kevin, thank you very much. Again, guys, go to learberry.com or call 800-601-5430. Kevin, thanks for stopping in right before all this stuff that's happening and giving some idea as to what people can do to move money to a safe haven. Scott Besson is being so good and trying to tell people what they can and can't do. And like you said, information is better than a sale. If people understand and go look or just... you can call Lear Capital, and even if you're not ready to buy, just find out what the heck's going on and how you can do things. So,
absolutely,
Kevin, we're going to watch this rally, and thank you very much for coming on once again. And people, they're going to have a bunch of questions, so I'm sure they'll reach out to you.
You bet. I appreciate you, Barry. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Kevin Demerit, founder of Lear Capital. Hope you got garnered some information from that. Looking at the video here, the stream, of course, President Trump, he's almost never on time, so you didn't miss anything. So what we're going to do in the interim here, we're going to go back and watch some of the pre-show video, and if I see him walking out or any other speaker coming out, we'll just jump to it. But let's go ahead and listen.
To start talking for another 5 hours or so, but it's a lovely day here outside Detroit, and there are a ton of people. So I think we might just go ask some folks what it is that they liked the most about the first 100 days. You guys, we are live right now on Fox. Look at that. So, pardon me. First 100 days, anything that you liked more than the rest of the stuff?
Closing our border.
Closing the border, okay. And how far did you guys have to come today to be here?
You just show her picture. I came from Wisconsin, Prentice.
Came from Wisconsin, all right. So, 5 miles, okay. So, obviously, it's a crowd of Trump supporters, of course, but we can try to do a little poll. Who here thinks that the number one thing in the first 100 days is what Trump has done at the border? Yeah! Okay. Border. Now let's try it with tariffs.
We are getting money for Trump.
Okay, all right. And what's that?
Doge.
All right. And so...
Our hard dollar earning $10.
Okay, all right. And so you can hear this is the crowd that President Trump has waiting for him when he leaves Washington, D.C. Something else that's really interesting, actually, before President Trump gets here, he's going to stop. Did you guys know about this? Before President Trump gets here, he's going to stop at a National Guard base, and he's going to meet with the governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Okay. She was, of course, at the Oval Office a week or two ago and tried to cover her face with a portfolio. Sandra?
Peter, you really have a talent for rallying the crowd there. It sounds like there's a lot of energy, enthusiasm ahead of the president's arrival there.
Well, I think in general, everything we've done in this term, the president has shown that he is able and has thought about this job now, doing it again over the last 4 years. We're doing everything faster. We are on a fundamentally different time frame than we were in the first term, as fast as we were doing things then. And you've been able to see, I think it was necessary for the world to see the seriousness that the president displayed on Liberation Day. And now we're in that period of time where the conversations are occurring, the negotiations are, the team is spread out to be able to facilitate those. And I think we're going to have some incredible results on behalf of the American people.
Right? I don't know if there's an Atlantic reporter here this morning, but that's not President Trump's, they're not a fan of him, right? Yesterday they described him this way, quote, "He is the most consequential American leader of the 21st century." And that's an understatement. President Trump has, here's a list, removed men from women's sports, ended DEI in the federal government and the U.S. military, expanded oil and gas extraction to lower prices, taken steps to end unfair trade practices, secured trillions of dollars in new investments in American manufacturing, deported criminal illegal aliens, stood up for religious liberty and rooted out anti-Christian bias, combated virulent anti-Semitism on college campuses. The list goes on and on and on. That's just barely scratching the surface. That's in 100 days. We're just getting started.
I will say that there was no mention whatsoever at Amazon about Joe Biden's inflation. And the fact is that we got to 40-year highs. Inflation measured by the Consumer Price Index was up 9.1%. We all remember we were at the cash register. Everything costs so much more. So, why they're putting a little bug now, this is because of the tariffs, and they didn't put a little bug, this is because of the $7 trillion spent by the Democrats under Joe Biden, is a question.
Yeah. And the most important thing of the 100 days, Dana, is President Trump ran on closing the border, and the border is closed. Mm-hmm. No one is coming across the border, and Democrats did not do that by choice now. It is obvious it was a choice because Donald Trump closed it. So Democrats are going to have to run with that burden, especially Vice President Harris, as she was the border czar. She opened it. She couldn't close it. Donald Trump has.
I think there's no other way to look at this first 100 days other than a huge success. I mean, I know what you're talking about in terms of the polling and the approval rating, but look at the president's two top issues, immigration and inflation. Border crossings are down 99%. I spoke with President Trump on Sunday. He told me 3 people.
Okay, so President Trump is on time. He's taking the stage right now, and as you know, they're probably playing the music, which you can't play right here. So I can jump us over so you can see him dancing, and as soon as the music stops, we will let him talk. So that's obviously they're playing Lee Greenwood's song, which don't have the rights to play before he goes on, but you can see him actually taking the stage right now. And the music, as soon as he walks up to the microphone, I'll go ahead and turn it on. So just to let you know, I will be working a couple of different feeds, and I'll decide which feed I'm going to use based upon, how it sounds, the different things are going to show. So just bear with me like the first 2 or 3 minutes once he begins speaking, as I can find the right feed to actually use, and sounds the best, looks the best, has the best clarity. We'll do all that, but I'll shut up and I'll let you see President Trump as he begins to go to the mic. He's singing right now. All right, he's heading to the microphone. Let's do this.
Wow. Hello, Michigan. Hello, Michigan. Hello. We love you, Michigan. We love you. We just had the biggest victory in Michigan. They said, sir, it's going to be hard. Well, we won it twice. We actually won it 3 times. You want to really know it? But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state. I love this state. Got a lot of auto jobs coming. Watch what's happening. The companies are coming in by the tens. You got to see what's happening. They all want to come back to Michigan and build cars again. You know why? Because of our tax and tariff policy. They're coming from all over the world. They're coming up and they're opening up plants and they're talking to us all day and all night. They want to get here and they're coming in at levels you've never seen before. And I want to thank the auto workers for your support. That was great. But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything. Hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in. And week by week, we're ending illegal immigration. We're taking back our jobs and protecting our great American auto workers and all of our workers, frankly. We're protecting all of our workers. We're restoring the rule of law, which was sort of out the window with this crazy guy we had. How the hell did that guy ever become president? Could somebody explain to me?
Can you guys let me know if the volume's okay?
How the hell did that happen? There's my friend.
Let me know if the volume is okay for you.
Follows me. He follows me. We love you. Your whole group has been so supportive over the years. I want to thank you. Everyone thinks I pay you a fortune. I don't know. I don't even know who the hell he is. I just like him. It's true. Thank you very much. Thank all of the fellas. Thank them all. But we're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government. We're stopping the indoctrination of our children, slashing billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And above all, we're saving the American dream. We're making America great again, and it's happening fast, too. What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is, really. We're conservative. You're conservative, you're liberal, whatever the hell. You know what it's all about? It's about common sense when you think about it. We're for common sense. We like strong borders. We like good education. We like low interest rates. We like being able to buy a beautiful car. And now deduct the interest on the loan. That's never happened before. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. You know, the Democrats, they campaign on, we will raise your taxes. It's the first time. You know, I haven't been doing this that long, actually, compared to a lot of people. They've been doing it for a long time. They say, you became president. I can't get out of Congress, or some of them can't even get into Congress. But, you know, I haven't been doing it that long, but all my life I've been watching, and I've never heard people campaigning that they're going to raise taxes. It's always been, we will reduce your taxes, Democrat, Republican. Now they go, we're going to raise your taxes. If our bill doesn't pass, the Republicans, we have 100% just about Republican support, But it would be nice if we had just a couple of Democrats just to make sure, because, you know, every once in a while you have a grandstander Republican. We have some grandstanders, but every once in a while, not many, but remember who those grandstanders were and vote them the hell out of office, okay? Will you do that? Vote them out of office. You know, they do it they're morally bound. You know what the answer is? If you don't get it, you're going to have the highest tax increase in history instead of the greatest tax cut in history. If the Democrats prevail on this bill, you get a 58% tax increase. Would you like that? These are the Democrats. But I've never seen all the years they campaign, we will raise your taxes. I say, this country has gone crazy. And today they did it again. Some guy that I'd never heard of. John James, is he a congressman, this guy? He said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me. This lunatic, he was up. Actually, I had the television way down, and I said to our great First Lady, listen, did I just hear I was being impeached again? We're getting good at this, though. No, they've gone totally crazy. These people, and you know what? They've totally lost their confidence, too. They can't even tell a lunatic like this dumb guy that said it. And then you have the other one that's always with the cane. He's always impeaching. He raises his cane. He always impeaches. But they have no control over those people. They have no control, and the reason is they've lost their confidence. They have no confidence anymore as a party. They have no candidates. And, you know, when they say that Bernie's probably the best they have. By the way, he's about 7 years older than me, 8 years older. One thing I got to give him credit, he's a lunatic, but he's still pretty sharp. And he's going around with AOC +3. You know, the +3 follow him. They hang on for little bits. They hang on for nuggets. And they get crowds. They say, our crowds are so much bigger than their crowds. Their crowds are small. If I ever had a crowd like their biggest crowd, they'd say it's over for Trump. He's lost the magic. But this is great, and all the people outside, we love you. We put screens up. We're taking back our country from a sick political class that got rich selling America out and bleeding America dry. We don't let that happen anymore. And we had 4 great years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. The stock market went up 88%. We did great. And we're going to do better now, because now we learned a little bit. After years of leaders who sent your money to defend the borders of distant foreign nations, that's what we did. We'd fight for other nations, but not for ourselves. You finally have a president who is defending our borders and our nation. After decades of politicians who destroyed Detroit to build up Beijing, you finally have a champion for workers in the White House. And instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first. After a lifetime of unelected bureaucrats stealing your paychecks, attacking your values, and trampling your freedoms, we are stopping their gravy train and power trip and telling thousands of corrupt, incompetent, and unnecessary deep state bureaucrats, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Get out of here. In 100 days, we have delivered the most profound change in Washington in nearly 100 years. I read an editorial today that this is the most consequential presidency in history. How about that? And it wasn't even by a group that would normally be supporting us. It was a group of people that I think they tend to be on the liberal side, but they said it's the most important election. The November 5th, that changed it all. You have to see, well, you hear some of these numbers, but that is the most consequential election that we've ever had in our country. And what a nice thing. I'm going to start again subscribing to that particular paper. Even if I don't read it much, I'm going to subscribe. But it was a very nice compliment, especially from them. They know who I'm talking about. We're ushering out the long reign of special interests and the radical left lunatics, and we're ushering in the golden age of America. That's what we have. Right? Front row Joe. Look at you, front row Joes. I miss you guys. I miss the campaign. You haven't changed. You've lost a couple of pounds. Oh, he's probably getting to one of those jabbers. You've lost a couple of pounds. You look good. And I have Mr. Wall here. This guy. How many rallies have you gone to? Like hundreds, and we love him here. The Wall. One day I'm going to get that suit and I'm going to wear it on stage. We appreciate it, fellas. Great. Thank you. You know, we have a group of ladies, I don't know if they're here, but we have a group of women from North Carolina, a large group, like 50 of the most beautiful women, and they've been to 129 rallies. They're happily married, I think, too. They just keep going to rallies all the time. But they're great. North Carolina, where we won by big numbers. Nowhere has this transformation been more dramatic than our southern border. You have seen a change on your southern border that Sleepy Joe said couldn't happen. Sleepy Joe, the worst president in history, said it couldn't happen. The last administration engineered a massive border invasion, allowing gangs, cartels, and terrorists to infiltrate our communities and rape and murder our citizens, and that is being nice about it. That's actually being nice about it. They are the worst. But standing before you today, I can proudly report that this heinous betrayal is over and that we have achieved the most secure border in American history, by far, in American history. For 2 months in a row, we have now set all-time records, and this is by the media, the fake news media, which most of it is fake. We've set all-time records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%. Think of that, 99.999. 3 people got in. 3. And I got angry as hell at Tom Homan. How did you allow 3, Tom? I called up Christy. Christy Noem's doing a great job, Tom Homan. I said, how did you allow 3 people? No, they allowed a few in for medical reasons. They had a couple of, were very sick. The ones that got in were really very sick, and we had to take care of them, but it was a few people. But 3 people got in versus hundreds of thousands in the last administration. Hundreds of thousands a month were pouring in. Biden had no control. Thank goodness he appointed a great border czar, right? Kamala. She was a great candidate. She was fantastic. Joe Biden was down 35 points. The debate was not a good one for him. He said, you know, if I didn't debate, I could have gone all the way. He was down 35 points, and they decided to replace him. Nothing ever happens like what happens to me. It never happens to anybody else. I had to beat 2 candidates, so he's down. This is like you're in a fight. Dana White, the UFC, you're in a fight, and you're just beating the guy so badly, and they say, oh, let's put in another fighter. That's what happened. And I knew nothing about her. She was vice president, but nobody knew a damn thing about her. She had nothing to do with the border, even though she was appointed border czar. The great people, all of the great people, Paul and all of the border patrol people, they never spoke to her. They never heard about her. For 4 years, she never called. But there's never been such a difference in anything as the difference between the border today and the border what it was just 6 months ago. So I want to say congratulations, America. It's about time. If we had not won the 2024 election, oh, does that sound good, right? We won the 24, all that work. The radical left Democrats would right now be importing the next 10 million invaders and giving amnesty to 30 or 40 million illegals, many of them criminals, many of them, frankly, murderers and people of crime at the absolute highest level. Real bad people. It would only be a matter of years or months until America itself became a failed third world nation. That was happening to us. We were going to be a third world nation. I'll tell you what, if these guys won, if this group of radical lunatics, and by the way, Biden, we find out that whoever operated the auto pen was the real president, and Biden knew nothing about it. He had a group of radical left guys who were very smart, and a woman, a particular woman. Very, very smart people. These are not stupid people. These are sick people, but they're not stupid people. And they were very smart. What they're best at is cheating at election. They cheat on elections. That's their single greatest trait. They cheat like hell. And let me tell you, they tried to cheat on this election, but we made it too big to rig. Remember? Too big to rig. They tried. I watched those numbers. We had Elon with us. Elon is a smart guy. Elon was with us. Elon Musk. And I was sitting with Dana White and Elon Musk, and I'm watching the numbers in Pennsylvania, and we're winning so easily. Then all of a sudden it flatlined. And I said, I think they're cheating again. Look at this. What's going on? I think they're cheating again. And Elon looked at us. He goes, no. You're going to win. They just don't know it yet. And about 15 minutes later, we won. Sort of crazy. I'll never forget. You're going to win. They just don't know it yet. But you know what? We made it too big to rig. It was too big. Starting on day one, I deployed the U.S. military to defend our country from the invasion of our border. I shut down all migrant flights. Do you remember when we're talking about people coming in, they're trying to deny it, okay? So people are flowing in. They say, no, I don't see any people. It's like, what's wrong? But then we saw airplanes going overhead. We said, what the hell are those airplanes doing? Big Boeing 757s were traveling right overhead, loaded up with people. I say, where the hell are those planes going? They were loaded up with migrants coming in illegally, flying in by plane, paid for by the U.S. government. I'll tell you, they are sick. Remember that day? That was the day we found out that not only do we have to defend it here, we have to defend it not only in the water, but we have to defend it in the air. The planes were going over us. I said, what the hell is that? I banned all welfare to illegals, and I signed an order that will end automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. No citizenship. For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation. He needed legislation. He had no power to get it. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president. Within days of taking office, I signed the Laken Riley Act. Laken Riley, beautiful Laken Riley, who was killed by an illegal immigrant, viciously, violently killed. But I signed the Laken Riley Act to facilitate the expulsion of dangerous criminal aliens, and when necessary, we had to put them in jail. We couldn't take a chance that they'd come back in again. In recent weeks, ICE, who are great, these people are great, has arrested dozens of child rapists, along with murderers, kidnappers, drug traffickers, and thieves, and frankly, people from mental institutions. We've designated 6 murderous Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We have also designated 2 bloodthirsty transnational gangs, MS-13 and Trendiaragua, TDA. They've been designated the highest level of terrorists, and that lets us do a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do. We got to get them out of here before they kill more people. They've killed plenty. My administration has increased arrests of known and suspected terrorists by 655%. Is that okay? We tried to get it higher. We tried to get it higher, but the courts are giving us a hard time. Can you believe? You know, I won on the basis of, I think the number one thing was on illegal immigration, the border, the people pouring across our border that are from all over the world. They're unbelievably bad, in many cases, unbelievably bad people. I think that was the number one thing. And now the courts are trying to say that, you know, that doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to be allowed to stand. Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We are delivering mass deportation, and it's happening very fast. And the worst of the worst are being sent to a no-nonsense prison in El Salvador. Why don't you watch this? Watch this. Take a look. Fighting to protect Americans. The radical left Democrats, who are so bad for this country, are fighting to protect TDA, you just saw that, and MS-13 criminals, and you don't even know which is worse, but they are the top of the line. For years, Democrat politicians did not raise one word of protest as American women and girls were raped and slaughtered by these monsters. They were raped and slaughtered by numbers that you don't even want to hear about. But the second we try to deport them, the radical Democrat Party is racing to the defense of some of the most violent savages on the face of the earth. Who the hell would vote for these people? They're racing to the courts to help them, but this is not what the people want. This is not what they voted for in record numbers. I won the election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. And we got 312 electoral college votes. And just this month, 2 Venezuelan members of TDA, Tren de Aragua, were arrested in Washington state for kidnapping a 58-year-old woman, driving a power drill through her hand to extort her bank account information, shooting her, leaving her for dead. And miraculously, she just survived, but she's not feeling so well. In January, Tren de Aragua member in Chicago kidnapped 3 women, took them in an alley, lined them up, and shot them each in the head. They all died. And the FBI recently assessed that these vicious gangs have been sent by the foreign regime in Venezuela to foment violence and instability in the United States of America. Can't let that happen. And it's not just, in all fairness, not Venezuela. It's all over the world. It's all over. They come in from the Congo. They come in from Africa. The Congo, they emptied out their prisons into our country. But they come from Africa, Asia, South America. They come from all over bad parts of Europe. That's why we've invoked the Alien Enemies Act to expel every foreign terrorist from our soil as quickly as possible. Never forget the same people that we now claim we're just not taking this crap anymore. We can't. They're claiming that we're not allowed to deport illegals, and they're the ones who orchestrated an 8-year campaign to jail their political opponents. Do you know what I mean? They want to jail. They want to jail. That's all they can do, jail their political opponents. What they did to people is a disgrace. And now they come after us. Why are you not nice to them? Why are you not nice to them? They tried to jail your president. They tried to jail. Except for the really courageousness of a few very good judges, you know, we could have been calling you from the other side of the bar saying, hey, fellas, how about a little protest? How about a little protest? But they cheered the assassination of CEOs, looted our cities, and destroyed our property. No, they tried to jail our politicians, and they tried to jail a lot of people, many of whom didn't even know what the hell they were being looked at for. These people are criminals. If they had their way, we would be living in a third world hellhole. That's what they want. Removing the invaders is not just a campaign pledge. It's my solemn duty as Commander-in-Chief. I have an obligation to do it. Save our country. And that's why we got, despite the fake polls, you know, they do these polls where they interview far more Democrats than Republicans. I saw them over the last few days, and I had them checked out. They interview far more Democrats for the polls. They interview Democrats by big numbers and then Republicans by small. They say, Trump only has a 44% approval rating. Well, it's actually not bad. But when you figure that if it were a legit poll, it would be in the 60s or 70s. These people are a bunch of crooked people. No, they interview more Democrats than Republicans. In other words, they take the poll and they interview Democrats. They poll Democrats. And then they say, they try and depress it as much, just like they write bad stories. 97% of the stories written about me, think of it, were negative, and yet we won in a landslide because they have no credibility. And also, we cannot allow a handful of communist, radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the President to keep our country safe, and it's not a good thing. But I hope, for the sake of our country, that the Supreme Court is going to save this, because we have to do something. These people are just looking to destroy our country. Nothing will stop me in the mission to keep America safe again. It's very simple. Keep America safe again. And our first 100 days have also produced historic results in the battle to defeat Biden's inflation disaster and bring jobs and wealth back to America and bring them back to Michigan, okay? We want to bring it back. As an example, since I took office, the cost of eggs is down 87%. Now, right? You remember a few weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, we heard about it before. I heard about it a long time ago. Before Thanksgiving, I heard about it. And then I was hearing that I wasn't president. This guy was barely president. Nobody knew, was he president? Who the hell was president? To this day, I say it was the one that operated the auto pen, but what do I know? But I was hearing about eggs, and then all of a sudden we have a great election victory. And my first week in office, they start screaming at me, "What about the price of eggs? Eggs, eggs." I said, "I've only been here for 6 days. I was there 6 days." I said, "What's wrong with eggs?" They said, "The price of eggs has gone through the roof and you won't be able to have them for Easter." So I put a very capable Brooke Rollins, who's our wonderful Commissioner of Agriculture that you know in Michigan. I said, "Brooke, I've only been here 6 days before I heard, maybe even less, maybe 5, maybe 4. But it was my first week. And I said, "Brooke, you got to save me here. I'm getting killed about eggs. What the hell's going on with eggs?" She said, "Well, you can't get them. The price is through the roof. And it looks like we're going to have a real problem for Easter. You're not going to have eggs." I said, "Brooke, that doesn't sound politically viable to me. That doesn't sound good." Because nobody's going to believe me when you get out there that it's Sleepy Joe Biden's fault. So, Brooke, you got to get going, Brooke, please. And she did a great job. And you had so many eggs for Easter, and your price was down 87% from that point. Prices are coming way down. You know, the fake news doesn't say. They said, he pledged. Now, I pledged safe borders. I pledged all sorts of things. But they said, he pledged to bring prices down. Well, that's what I've done. They're trying to say the prices have gone up. Your energy, your car, your gasoline, they have 3 states this week, a couple of days ago, that were $1.98 a gallon. So gasoline prices are down by a lot. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates actually just went down. Prescription drug prices just saw their largest monthly decline ever recorded. How about that? Remember what you heard. Prescription drug prices just took the biggest plunge ever since they've recorded the prices, which have basically gone up, except for my 4 years. They did pretty well, but we got to know that system. The system is a bad system, but they just took the biggest dive ever in the history of prescription drug prices. Think of that. That's a big thing. I got to say it again and again because they will never tell you that. The fake news will never tell you that. Grocery prices have gone down. Everything's gone down. And yet I saw this person on MSDNC, which I think is probably even worse than CNN. It's probably worse. Probably worse than CNN. But I saw this horrible, horrible anchor. How these people get jobs. I wouldn't hire them to do the most menial of chores. But I saw this person. He campaigned on bringing prices down. Every price has gone down. What am I going to do? I mean, think of it. Gasoline was almost $4 not so long ago. And now, Mike, we just hit $1.98 in a lot of states. Think of it. And they're saying, and you know what? And inflation is basically down. And interest rates came down despite the fact that I have a Fed person who's not really doing a good job. But I won't say that. I want to be very nice. I want to be very nice and respectful to the Fed. You're not supposed to criticize the Fed. You're supposed to let him do his own thing. But I know much more than he does about interest rates, believe me. Core inflation has reached the lowest rate in 4 years. And last month, we had the largest drop in consumer prices since the pandemic. This is all done in 100 days. Think of that. This is all done in 100 days. But when you watch the fake news, you see fake polls. Again, they poll more Democrats than Republicans. Democrats aren't going to say, I'm going to vote for Trump. And we still got 45, 44%. But on the legitimate polls, I think we're in the 60s. I think we're in the 60s or 70s or something. In 3 months, we have created 350,000 jobs. Think of that. For the first time in recent memory, job gains for native-born Americans now exceed job gains for foreign workers. This is for the first time, and nobody even knows when, Americans now are doing better than foreign workers. How about that? I mean, that's okay. I want everyone to do well, but that's okay. And to curb inflation, we're cutting a record number of job-killing regulations. We beat in the 4-year first administration, which was a tremendous success. We cut more regulations than any president in history, including 2-term presidents, including Roosevelt, who was more than a 2-term president. We cut more regulations than any president in history in 1 term, and now our 2nd term. And, you know, I don't know why. It was so important to win because they used to say, the fake news, to be a great president, you have to serve 2 terms. So now we're going to serve 2 terms. Now they've taken that one. Cross. Right, Dr. Oz? Cross that one off. Cross that one off. No, they say it all the time. When I was out, they say, well, they go out through. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. But we've ended the radical left. Well, we actually already served 3, but if you count. But remember, I like the victories. I like the 3 victories, which we absolutely had. I just don't like the results of the middle term, the results. I don't want those results, John. I don't want those results. What results? What a disgrace. If we would have had this group for another year, we wouldn't have a country left. I really mean it. I don't think we would have had a country left. And now we're respected all over the world. They're coming from all over the world to see you, President. They're coming from India. They're coming from France. They're coming from Spain. Yeah, they're coming from China, too. Yeah, they're coming from China. They're coming from all over the world to see you, President. They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. And, you know, we'll make deals, but we don't have to. We are the ones that have the product. We are the ones at the United States. They want a piece of our product. We can just set the price. but I want to be respectful and I want to be nice. But if it takes too long, I'll just set a price. Say, you could buy or you don't have to buy. Think of this, we lost billions and billions of dollars a day. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars a day. And under Sleepy Joe Biden. What's better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Ready? A poll, a free poll. Because these pollsters are so corrupt. This is a real poll. We're going to poll Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe. Ready? What's a better name for us to call him? Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? I'm not surprised. It happens. I sort of loved Sleepy Joe, it just had a nice ring to it. Because he had one ability I didn't have. He goes to the beach, right? And he could fall asleep on a cottage, drooling out of the side of his mouth, and he'd be sleeping within minutes, carrying the aluminum chair, the kind that's meant for old people and children to carry. It weighs like about 4 ounces. And he couldn't get his feet out of the sand. And he'd sleep, he'd fall in this thing, and he'd have, he's president, so you'd have cameras. He'd be in a bathing suit. Somebody convinced him that he looks great in a bathing suit. He's 82 years old. Cary Grant didn't look great in a bathing suit when he was 82. You don't look great. At some point you have other assets, okay? But that's not wrong. But he'd go and he'd walk in the sand, and he'd fall into that thing, and within seconds he was sleeping. I'd be tossing and turning and scheming and thinking and saying, how am I going to beat China? How am I going to stop the war with Russia and Ukraine? This guy could fall asleep with cameras blazing, right? Not too many cameras were blazing, but enough were blazing that you saw it. I thought it was a great ability that he had, actually. We've ended the radical left war on American energy. We've stopped their crusade on coal. Did you see what I did the other day? Clean, beautiful coal. I said, you're not allowed to use the word coal unless you say clean, beautiful coal. So you have guys getting up, Department of Energy. We have great people at Department of Energy. They talk about clean, beautiful coal. China uses coal. They're opening up a coal plant every week. A massive coal plant, but we're not allowed to use it. But now we are, because last week I gave it absolute, total approval. And you know what I don't give approval to? Those stupid windmills that go round and round and round. And we've ended the Green New Scam. We've reopened ANWR, the greatest drilling site anywhere in the world, in Alaska, and implemented the new energy policy of the United States. You know what it is? We have a policy. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. That's our policy. That's our policy, Michael, right? Great Michael Whatley, head of the Republican Party. He's done a good job. Him and Laura, they took the party by storm, right? He had a good candidate, but had a couple of good candidates, didn't he? Michael's been incredible, actually. Michael Whatley, North Carolina. He watched in 2020. He did so good for me. And, he was in North Carolina. He did so great. What's the problem over there? What's the problem? Is that a radical left lunatic? He's just a child. All right, get him out. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought it was a guy. Thank you. And she now has to go home to a mother who's a big Trump fan. Her mother's watching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said he, and it's a she. I'm sorry. To keep my promise to the great state of Michigan, I terminated Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, where you were mandated to buy an electric vehicle. You were mandated within just a few years to buy an electric vehicle. How about that? And you know what? They're great, but people don't. Not everybody wants them. You got to be able to buy a hybrid, a gasoline-powered car. You can buy lots of different cars, but you can't be mandated to do anything. And I've already proudly imposed a 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles. Any foreign car, like they do to us. This is going to create more jobs in this state and this country. And to help these automakers bring their factories home as rapidly as possible, I've just signed an executive order to give partial tariff rebates to any company that assembles its cars right here in the U.S. In other words, if they can't make it in time because they have to do it here, otherwise they haven't, I'm giving them a little bit of a break, right? They took in parts from all over the world. I don't want that. I want them to make their parts here. But I gave them a little bit of time. It's 15% and then 10% of the parts, so it's not so bad. Somebody would say, oh, well, that's a change in parts. It's not. It's called a little flexibility. The guys were crying. They love it. Everything's good. But just in case we can't get everything in time, we gave them a little bit. So it's 15% of the parts and then it's 10% of the parts. We give them a little time before we slaughter them if they don't do this right. They're going to make so much money. They're going to have so many jobs. No, but jobs are way up. Jobs are way up. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Brian Panebecker. Do you know who that is? Of the auto workers for Trump. And Brian is a union guy, loves the unions, loves everything, but he knew that Trump was right. Brian, come up here, Brian. I got to see Brian. Look at the arms in this guy. Look at the arms. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be here on your 100th day in office of your second term. And I just want to remind you of something I told you at one of your last rallies before the election. I've got it on video. I've watched it dozens of times at home. After I was able to speak, I turned to you and I said, Mr. President, Macomb County is going to win Michigan for you. And that's exactly what happened. We had a margin of victory of 70,000 votes in this county alone. Thank you, Macomb County. You know, I met President Trump 8 years ago in Novi, and we had never met before. And as I was stepping towards him backstage to get my picture taken, I knew I only had 10, 15 seconds to say something to him before we got our pictures. Fortunately, my son was standing behind me, so I've got a witness to this. And I said, Mr. Trump, we've got the keys to the White House waiting for you in Macomb County. And he kind of chuckled and he said, oh yeah, how's that? And I said, well, Macomb County is the home of the Reagan Democrats. If you come to Macomb County and you ask for their support and you get it, you might win Macomb County big enough to carry the whole state of Michigan. And that's exactly what he did. So I want to say thank you to the auto workers, everybody who works in the automotive field, the suppliers, every one of you, the truck drivers. Thank you so much for supporting the greatest president in our lifetimes. Now, I've got a little business announcement I want to make. I hope the president doesn't mind. But when I was backstage with him earlier and got my picture taken, I said, Mr. President, I've got a deal that you can't refuse. And he said, what's that? And I said, well, I'm writing a book, and it's going to be about my political journey. I've been involved in some things here in Michigan, conservative causes like right to work and the Michigan Civil Rights Initiative. And I said, you have a publishing company, Winning Team Publishing. It's run by Don Jr. and his partner. I said, I'll agree to use your publishing company if you agree to write the foreword to my book. He stuck out his hand and said, I'll do it. That's how you negotiate with the best negotiator in the world. So listen, I got one last thing to say. All of us have a job to do. Number one, we have to win the 2026 elections. It has to happen. Sri Thanadar, that lunatic Democrat from Detroit, is already threatening to impeach President Trump if they get the majority back. But luckily, right now, we've got good people in Congress like Congressman John James over here who are stopping that from happening. But listen up. So we got to get out, and we don't have any time to waste. We got to start talking to our friends, our neighbors, our family, our coworkers. The campaign for 2026 starts tomorrow. We've got to win that election. So the work is not over. The work has just begun. November 5th was not the end. It was the beginning of the golden age. And let's all tell President Trump how much we support what he's done the first 100 days in office. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's one other thing I wanted to say in front of all these thousands of people to President Trump. President Trump, I love you.
That's great. Thank you. Good man. He's a great guy. You know, he was with me from day one, 2015. Before 2016, he was there from day one. He got it. He said, we're losing our car industry. That's what he really cared about. He just said, I had so many friends who were laid off. It's horrible. They lay us off like it's nothing. And the business went to China, it went to Japan, went to all countries all over the world. They're laying us off, sir. And then he said, we can solve that. I told him, we can solve that so fast. He's one of the early people that got it. And we've solved it. We're going to be doing numbers that nobody's ever believed. We'll be the number one in the world again. Nobody can believe it because we have been beaten up so badly by these countries that have rigged the whole thing. They fight like hell. They're smart. Their product is good, but our product's going to be a lot better. We're going to do something that nobody believes, and he saw it right at the beginning. So I appreciate it, Brian. And he was there at the I love the guys from the beginning. I love those early guys. Those guys are right there. They were there from the beginning, too. No, you're going to see numbers, and you're already seeing them. Look, you know, we have many Hondas coming in, and they're coming in. We let them build their cars here. We don't want them to build them in Japan. We love Japan. We don't want them building them in Japan. We want them to build them here. We want China to build them in here. We want them all to build them right in here. That's what they've done to us for 40 years, and they've drained us. Now we're doing it to them at a better level than they ever dreamed possible. To further rebuild the industrial bedrock of our country, I've imposed 25% tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel. It's keeping our steel mills going. I did that. If I didn't do that with steel in the my first term, we wouldn't have a steel mill in the United States right now, and everybody knows that. I did it for washing machines, too, by the way. That's why I asked the people at Whirlpool. They were going to close. They were in deep trouble. I did it because they were dumping machines. I did a 50% tariff, was going to raise it to 100%. They didn't even have to bother. They became a tremendously successful company overnight. They were ready to close. They came to me with tears in their eyes in my office early on, first term. And we're doing it now at levels never seen before, and the results are going to be even better, because we've been abused by friend and foe. And in many cases, friend has abused us more so than foe on trade. So I want to just let you know you're going to be very proud of this country very soon. And with my China tariffs, we're ending the greatest job theft in the history of the world. China's taken more jobs from us than any country has ever taken from another country. And that doesn't mean we're not going to get along. We get along with China. I mean, their tariff now is at 145%. So essentially, that's a big difference between that and zero. But I think it's going to work out. They want to make a deal, and we're going to make a deal, but it's going to be a fair deal. It's not going to be a deal that we lose $1 trillion a year like they did with Biden. That guy was so bad. He was so bad. Under Biden, and remember this, we were losing $5 billion a day on trade, and now we're making money. We're actually making money instead of, do you know what 5 billion, think of that, Mike, how many pillows do you have to make to lose $5 billion? You can make them for 1,000 years. No, we were losing $5 billion a year. Now we've got it where we're making money, and the tariffs haven't even really kicked in. The 25% on cars have. But you know what that means? That means that you're going to make the cars. We don't need the cars from outside. When they say, oh, sir, we want to send you a lot of cars, I said, we really don't want your cars. We really don't want. We want to make our own cars. That includes Canada. That includes Mexico, who have taken a tremendous amount of our business. Canada's taken off a tremendous, like 10, 12%. Mexico is 32%. They took 32% of our car production. We don't want them to have that. We want that. Why are we giving it to them? Why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year? Why are we subsidizing Mexico for $300 billion a year? There's no reason for it. I'm proud to be the president for the workers and not the outsourcers, a president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street. You know, I like Wall Street. I like Wall Street. I have a gorgeous, beautiful building on Wall Street, 40 Wall Street. Anybody? You want a little space? I'll get you some space real quickly. Now I've got one of the most beautiful buildings in the world on Wall Street, but I still like Main Street because you're Main Street. I want Main Street over Wall Street. And we want to protect the middle class, not the political class. That's all. I haven't done this very long. We want to protect our people. You know, this is the greatest, when you think about this, look, here we are, it's not even like election, it's after the election. And you have crowds like this, and to have them, we're going to do the commencement at University of Alabama. And they just called and they said, it's going to be the biggest crowd we've ever had we've never had a crowd like this. And I'm doing it at West Point, and they called and said the same thing. We love West Point. We love University of Alabama. We love Alabama. You know what I won Alabama by? Like almost 50 points. So when they called and they said, would you like to do the commencement? I said, okay, I'll do it. But they're going to have the biggest crowd they ever had by maybe 4 or 5 times, they told me. Thanks for all of the things that we've done and to our policies. Trillions of dollars are now pouring into the United States because of common sense, just common sense. Apple, great company, was building everything in China. Now they just announced that they're spending $500 billion to invest in America, not in China. My friend Jensen from NVIDIA, they're spending, you know what NVIDIA is? They're spending $500 billion. TSMC, the biggest chip maker in the world by far from Taiwan, they're spending $200 billion in the United States. Amazon, $21 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. The Mac, $20 billion. Merck, Stellantis, General Motors are putting in billions and billions of dollars, and many other companies. And as a result of our policies, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. They have a poll, a crazy poll, probably a fake poll too, so I don't know, I don't care. But first time ever, I think ever, that they're saying the country is headed in the right direction. Has never happened before. I don't know why. But we've accomplished more in 3 months than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or even 8 years, and we're just getting started. Believe me, we're just getting started. We're pleased to be joined by some great people. A person that number one, I have so much confidence in him. The fake news is after him, really after him, but he's a tough cookie. They don't know how tough he is. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Pete. Wow, that's pretty good. How are the Houthis doing? Not too good, right? They're not. Our new administrator of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, somebody that everybody knows, but this guy, you know, the show was a big success, but sometimes it hurts your image to have a television show. He's the top, he went to Harvard. I shouldn't even mention that anymore because that used to be a good thing. Today it doesn't mean much. But he went to University of Pennsylvania Medical School, top student, top doctor, top everything. One of the smartest guys in medicine. Also a big star, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Dr. Oz, thank you, doctor. Thank you. A man who waited today just came here. He was all sweaty and grimy. I said, what the hell happened? He ran into the building because he wanted to vote in Congress. And I hear we passed the vote, John James, by a lot, right? And thank you for making it here. He had a vote. I said, John, do me a favor, stay and vote. We're voting essentially on the big, beautiful, that gorgeous, big, beautiful bill. I said, you know, I want you there badly, but you got to vote, please. So thank you very much, John. Good job. Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall. Matt, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Michigan Senate Republican leader Eric Nesbitt. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Michigan GOP Chair Jim Runstead. Thank you, Jim. Good job. Nice tie. Thank you, Jim. Great job. One of my favorite people. I mean, we just had such success. You know, we had so many votes stolen in 2020, and then this guy came in, and they didn't steal him from his state, North Carolina, I told you. But they didn't steal him. He had 601 lawyers, and they had lawyers at every voting booth. And I said, who is that guy that did so well? Because we won the state. Other states, you know, they inched us out, and, you know, at the end, they just inched us out, crooked as hell. But this guy didn't let that happen. His name is Michael Whatley, North Carolina, and now he's the head of the Republican Party, RNC, and he's great. And I must tell you, he worked with a great woman, my daughter-in-law, Laura, who was unbelievable. Who's got a very successful television show. That was a tremendous combination. That was a very important combination. Also the great, and you see him on television, he's unbelievable. Hey, Stephen, come up here fast. The great Stephen Miller. Do we like Stephen? Where is Stephen? Come here, Stephen. I love this guy. I love this guy. There is nobody smarter or tougher than Stephen Miller. Stephen, say a couple.
Who's enjoying 100 golden days of America? President Trump has achieved the most secure border in American history. He's fighting violent crime. He's fighting the drug cartels. He's cutting your taxes. He's cutting wasteful spending. He's draining the swamp. He's standing up to the radical left. He's standing up to the communists, and he's making America stronger than it's ever been. President Trump will never stop fighting for you, your children, and your family, and President Trump will make sure that in this country, not illegal aliens, not criminals, not gangbangers, but American citizens come first, last, and always. Thank you. And thank you, President Trump, for being the greatest president in American history.
He's great. This guy, he is something special. And he's been with us right from day one. Right from day one, Stephen's been there, right? He's been great. A man who put on about 928 rallies for me. We didn't have a glitch. Justin Caparel. Justin, thank you, wherever you are. He's probably backstage working. We did over 900 of these. Thank you, Justin. And Margot Martin. Does anyone know Margot? Beautiful Margot. I call her the world's greatest photographer. Where is Margot? Margot's great. Where are you, Margot? And she's very shy, actually. She's both beautiful and shy. Thank you. Where? Margot, come up here, Margot. Come up. Come on. You got it. This is the most beautiful. Now, look, I'm not allowed to say this. It's the end of my political career, but I'm going to say it anyway. She's the most beautiful photographer in the world. I don't know if she's the best, but she's the most beautiful.
Trump 2028, anybody?
People love Margot. And how about Caroline? How's Caroline doing? How is our Caroline doing? Caroline has taken the world by storm. She's taken it. And, you know, we have a man here that I don't know, but he's defending me all the time on CNN. And he defends me really well, but he can't go too far, because if he goes too far, he'll get fired. I said, you're amazing. You can take it right to the edge. And he really does a good job. He's not allowed to go any further. He would be off, if he really went totally crazy, which he'd like to do. But I think he's terrific. Scott Jennings. Where's Scott? Where are you, Scott? Come here, Scott. This guy, really, I've watched him for years. I don't know him, but he likes Trump. Come here, Scott. Oh, CNN, this is the end of Scott. No, who cares? Don't worry, we'll take care of you, Scott. Scott Jennings, really great.
Thank you. Michigan. We were flying in here today, and I said, look at these farms. I got to get a farm in Michigan, because when you own as many libs as I do, you got to put a place to put them all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Scott. And I also want to thank the rest of the Michigan Republican delegation for all the work they do in Congress and who are back in Washington working on the big, beautiful bill. We're going to name it, I think, the big, beautiful bill. In 100 days, I've taken more than 1,000 executive actions, and I could recite. Opened up your faucets, and we've opened up, especially me. I don't like taking a shower where the water goes drip, drip, drip onto my luxuriant hair. I need a lot of water. I need everything I can get. I don't need to be under a shower trying to get water to come out of that damn thing. So we've opened up the shower heads, the faucets, the toilets, the washing machines that don't give you water. All of that stuff has been opened up, and we're giving you gas ovens, gas stoves, if you'd like. No more electric. You can have electric if you want. I have a lot of friends, they like gas better. You're supposed to sell your gas stove or get it, I don't know, who do you sell it to? Maybe another country, because we're the only country that would be so stupid to that. But the stoves now, you can have gas stoves, all you want. Put 4 of them in your kitchen. I couldn't care less. It's all common sense. People were so angry about that. Remember? They were all angry. Get rid of your gas stove. You have to go to electric. There's something they have with electric that's amazing. And by the way, Elon makes a great car, but not everybody's going to want it. They all say, oh, well, Trump he's under the thumb of Elon. Do you think Elon was happy about ending the all-electric mandate? I don't think he was too happy, but he's a great guy. Honestly, never said a thing. He says, let me just compete fairly. By the way, it's not fair what they've done to him, too. That is a disgrace. That is a disgrace. But he's a great guy, and he's really helped us. And, they've saved $150 billion on waste, fraud, and abuse, Doge. So we want to thank him. He's an incredible guy. Anybody that can land a rocket ship. I saw this thing come in. I said, you got to be kidding. This rocket's coming in. Most of them go right into the ocean. But he lands it. I was on the phone with somebody talking, and I saw this thing coming in. It's spinning out of control, coming down. It's all burning. It's on fire. Looks like hell. I said, well, just another rocket going into the ocean. And then all of a sudden you see the fire pouring out of the engines, and it starts to slow up, slow. Then it's straight. Then it starts moving over a little bit. Then I say, oh, no, it's hitting the gantry. It's going to hit. And the engines go, rah, straightens it out. And it gets hugged like you hug your beautiful little baby, right? And I said, who the hell did that? It was Elon. And he told me, you don't have a space program if you have to drop $1 billion machine into the water every time you fly. You have to save those suckers. So he does. He's an amazing guy, and he's a great American, and he loves our country. He loves you. And he's paid a big price to help. But I have a feeling it's going to end up being good for him, actually. I really do. I established the new Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's doing a good job, Dr. Oz, right? He's doing a good job. And he's a little bit different, but I want to tell you, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he loves this country. Just last week, Bobby announced that we're banning 8 major artificial dyes from our food supply. Sounds good to me. And on day one, I created that right now, very successful Department of Government Efficiency headed by Elon. That was a big thing doing that. I mean, the numbers are really incredible. Doge. So it was a very big thing. We terminated the left-wing money laundering scam known as USAID. How about the money that was going out? How about the money that was going out? Billions and billions. They were giving individual people billions of dollars. Can you believe it? People that had nothing, they got $1 billion. One got $2 billion. $2 billion for the environment. Had $100 in the bank. You got $2 billion. Not $2 million. You know, $2 million would have been a lot. 200,000 would have been a lot, but it would have been fine. $2 billion. And we directed all federal workers to return to the office in person. They were giving individual people billions of dollars. Can you believe it? People that had nothing, they got $1 billion. One got $2 billion. $2 billion for the environment. Had $100 in the bank. You got $2 billion. Not $2 million. You know, $2 million would have been a lot. 200,000 would have been a lot, but it would have been fine. $2 billion. And we directed all federal workers to return to the office in person, or unfortunately, they're fired. You're fired. You know, some of these guys got their golf handicap way down during the so-called time where they're supposed to be working at home. You know, they weren't working at home. Who the hell would work at home? How do you work at home? It's terrible. And we found a lot of them where they had second jobs. They were just taking us for a ride. They're all taking us for a ride. The World Health Organization where we were paying $470 million, and China was paying with a population quite a bit larger than ours, thank you. Numbers like you wouldn't believe, and China wouldn't have spent anything, Russia wouldn't have spent anything, India wouldn't have spent, but we would have spent over $1 trillion. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization where we were paying $470 million, and China was paying with a population quite a bit larger than ours, thank you. The problem with us, we have no idea what size our population. They allowed so many people on under Biden. But let's assume it's 325 million. China's 1.4 billion. We were paying $470 million, and China was paying $39 million. And China was running the whole show. So I said, no, thank you. I withdrew. They offered me to sign up at $39 million. I still said no because it was sort of scammy. I didn't like it. And Biden came back in, and he signed up. And they knew we could have signed up for $39 million or less. He came back in and he signed up for the same as what they were paying before, almost $500 million. Now, that's a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to the trillions of dollars that they waste. But that's the way it is. They know they can sign up for less. They don't even care. It's like they don't want to have the conversation. And you're talking about a $450 million difference. But they came up right in the first week. He said, no, we're going right back in. Okay, I can understand that. But you go in for $39 million. They could make a deal for $39 million. They signed up for $472 million. And I withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council, which is totally disgusting. In 3 months, my administration has brought home 46 American hostages and citizens detained abroad. We paid nothing. We don't pay. We don't pay. You know, if you pay, those kidnappings go way up. We don't pay. Every time Biden brought people back, he'd pay $6 billion. $6 billion. $6 billion. 3 times they brought back 3 hostages. Oh, how is it? Well, I think it's a fair deal. What do we pay? $6 billion. Wait a minute. For 3 people, $6 billion. $6 billion. It's not right. I mean, it's just not right. They have no idea. Honestly, grossly incompetent, stupid people. More than Biden brought home in 4 years. We brought more back in just a matter of weeks than Biden brought home in years. And he paid a fortune and we paid nothing. We got Mexico to turn over 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. And we're charging Mexico and Canada and China big tariffs because of the fact that they've allowed fentanyl to come in and poison our country. They're paying a lot of money for that. And because of that, you'll watch, it's going to stop. It's already slowing down. Within 6 weeks, we also apprehended the terrorists responsible for the attack that killed 13 American service members, known as Abbey-gate. I got to know them. I got to know those families very well. They're devastated. During the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan and brought him home. I mean, we brought this guy home to America. We got the guy that did it. We got him. They were looking for years, but we got him. It took us to get him. We got him in the first month. Brought him home to face justice. And it was that gross incompetence that probably led Putin to go in and attack Ukraine, because they were never going to. That was never going to happen. If I were president, the Ukraine-Russia war would have never, ever happened, not even a little chance. We have ended the weaponization of law enforcement and fired Joe Biden's handpicked, these are pro-crime U.S. attorneys, except if it's a political person like me. You know, I was under investigation more than the late, great Alphonse Capone. Al Capone was the greatest gangster of them all. If he had dinner with you, and if he didn't like you, you were dead. You were a dead person. You'd be under a foundation somewhere in a nice big building or sports center going up. And I spent far more time under investigation than Alphonse Capone. How about that? You like that? I didn't like that. I didn't like it. We removed senior FBI officials who were corrupt and misdirected the resources they sent to SWAT teams after grandmothers and J6 hostages, what they did to those J6 hostages. And they did nothing to the people that took over Portland and took over Seattle. They literally took over a big portion of Seattle, or in Minnesota, Minneapolis. You remember that disaster where they said, no, this is a peaceful rally. The CNN lunatic anchor, the guy has about the personality of an ant. This is not a man meant for television. He said, no, the rally is quite peaceful. Then he got hit with a brick or something. And over his shoulder, the entire skyline of Minneapolis was burning. You remember that one? The entire skyline was burning. And I have to be careful, because that gentleman right there, one of the greatest purchasers of advertising in the history of the world, Mike Lindell, there has never been a better purchaser. He comes from Minnesota. Oh, congratulations. He's the greatest purchaser of ads in history. If he would have bought my ads, I could have had 10 times more ads on. There's never been. Is there any station that doesn't have a pillow ad in? But he's great, and he's doing great, and he's got a beautiful new wife and all that stuff, and I'm proud of you. Look at him holding hands. They're still holding hands. I'm very proud of him. That's nice. Usually by this time, and a lot of people I know, Mike, by this time it's over. It's over. Look at you holding hands. I love that. I saw that. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been grossly mistreated. We created a brand new DOJ task force on anti-Christian bias. It's a big problem. I stripped the security clearances of the disgraced intelligence agents who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. Remember the laptop from hell? Remember the laptop from hell? When you had the 51 agents, they said, oh, Russia did it. Russia did it. Russia did everything. Russia did it. And it was all like horrible, disgusting stuff. You hadn't seen the worst of it, but it truly is the laptop. By the way, a very brilliant reporter for the New York Post wrote a book called The Laptop from Hell. You ought to read that book. It is really, it tells you the facts, okay? It tells you the facts. Miss Devine, the great Miss Devine, she wrote an amazing book, actually, The Laptop from Hell. We also terminated the clearances of the Biden crime family and Joe Biden himself because he's corrupt. And I banned all government censorship and restored free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. I ended all of the lawless so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion bullshit all across the entire federal government and the private sector. And I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. And a really easy one, this was the easiest one I had. I banned men from competing in women's sports. You know, they always say that's an 80-20 issue. No, that's about a 97-3 issue. I also proudly banned the use of puberty blockers and other chemical and surgical, right? All these mutilations of our minor youth, I banned it all. I signed executive orders to abolish critical race theory and transgender insanity from our schools and from our military. We fired the woke boards of visitors at our military academies. We have great people running our military academies now. And I've directed the reinstatement of patriots expelled from our military by the Biden vaccine mandate with full back pay. After years of missed targets, our military suddenly has the best recruiting numbers in 30 years. Every branch is setting records. Don't think of that. 6 months ago, you and I were reading that nobody wanted to join the military, right? Now, we've just set a record of recruitment that's stuck. We have a waiting list of people that want to go into our military, and we have a waiting list, including for police and firefighters, because our country has spirit again. We have spirit. Our country has great spirit again. Last month, I signed a historic executive order to begin the process of eliminating the Federal Department of Education and send education back to Michigan. We're going to send it back to our states, right? We're going to send it back to our states to run. I mean, how the hell bad can we do? We're like in last place. They do badly, you're going to do better. They're going to do great, though. I think they're going to do great. I'm very proud of it. Linda McMahon, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job. And I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America. I ordered the release of all remaining files related to the assassinations of Presidents John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., and they're all out there. And I made myself very unpopular in Mexico by renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And we are restoring the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley in Alaska. He's a very good president. And you Italians are going to love me because just yesterday I brought back Columbus Day in America, especially for Italian Americans who were so badly treated by its removal. I also signed an order to require proof of citizenship to vote in American elections. That was easy. And the Democrats fought me in that. Think of it. Why would they want no voter ID? Because they want to cheat. Why would they want to have no proof of citizenship? We don't want it. We trust everybody. No, they want to cheat. That's all they want to do. Think of that. No voter ID. In Michigan, you must never allow ranked choice voting to be here. Never. We've done this all in 14 weeks. That's one. Remember that. 100 days. We've done all of the things that I named and a lot more. And we're counting, and it's going to be better. Wait till you see the results of some of the things that we're doing. In the coming weeks and months, we will pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that will include no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it will be the biggest bill ever passed in our country's history. It will include the biggest tax cuts, regulation cuts, military supremacy, and just about everything else. We will cut more than $1 trillion in wasteful and unnecessary spending. And in the next fiscal year, it'll all be done. We're going to have something that you won't even believe. We will end inflation, slash prices. We've already ended inflation, raise wages, and give you the greatest economy in the history of the world. That's already happening. With our tax bill, the average family's take-home Pay will be at least $5,000 more than it was just a couple of months ago. We will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors with no cuts, and we will defend Medicaid for those great people that are in need. House Republicans are working to invest more money in Medicaid than we spend today. The only thing we're going to cut is the corruption and the crooks that take advantage of some of the illegal schemes. So we want to preserve Medicaid for the most vulnerable, for our kids, pregnant women, the poor, and disabled Americans. We will fully and permanently secure our border. We will make the largest ever investment in U.S. military and build the Golden Dome missile defense shield. That's going to all protect us so we live a long and beautiful life. It's going to be made in Michigan, and it's going to be made right here in the USA. And 1 hour ago, I just made a speech at Selfridge Air Force Air National Guard Base, announcing that we are saving it, keeping it open, including thousands of jobs with a brand new state-of-the-art F-15s, which are coming to Selfridge. And we will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. I will defend religious liberty, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. We will celebrate the 250th anniversary of America's founding in 2026, and we will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And one day soon, American astronauts will plant the flag on the planet Mars. That's going to happen very soon. Every single day of my administration will continue to live by the motto, promises made, and you've seen it before, promises kept. From Marquette to Midland, from Mackinac to Saginaw, and from Lansing to right here in Macomb County, we stand on the shoulders of red-blooded Michigan patriots. What great people. I love you, Michigan. Who laid the railroads, worked the factories, tilled the field, forged the steel, fought the battles, and won the victories that built the Motor City and made this state into the pride of the America Midwest. And you know what? We're going to make it better than it ever was. It's already happening. You see what's happening. Michigan is the state that gave us the assembly line, Motown, Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, and put the world behind the wheel of an automobile. And under our leadership, we are making it greater every single day. And the automobile business in Michigan will soon, and it's going to happen really soon. It's already happening. They're signing left and right because of my taxation and tariff policies, which are policies of common sense and genius, be bigger and stronger and better than ever before. It's going to get better than ever before, and it won't even be close. Companies will be pouring back into Michigan. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and on November 5th, 2024, it was hardworking patriots like you who saved our country. So thanks to your help, your love, and your support, after 100 days back in the White House, America is a free, proud, and sovereign nation once more, and our magnificent destiny is closer than ever before. It's closer than ever before. You have no idea how close it is. Our golden age has only just begun. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. We will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. Together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. I love you, Michigan. I love you. Have a good time. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless you.
I get in big trouble when I play this music, but screw them. Screw them. It's rally time, baby. I play a little bit of it. Maybe they won't hear it because I'm talking over it. Watching the boss just out there in his element right now. This is it. This is absolutely it. You gotta love it. Wow. Those of you who have watched rallies with me in the past, you know, this just brought us all back. It brought us all back to, October, November, September, and we were watching these rallies all the way back to July 13th when someone tried to take a shot at him. Man, oh man, oh man. It was awesome. And those of you who didn't watch those rallies, if you're here now and you haven't seen this before, then welcome, because you just saw something that the Democrats can't touch. That's why, he's got to go back and talk to his people and sit down with Caroline Leavitt and sit down with his family and like, dude, you got to keep doing these. People are energized. People who have never seen these before are now seeing this kind of thing and going nuts over President Trump. And I know I'm not the only one, because I saw so many comments in the chat where people were like, oh man, this feels like the old times, forgetting that the old times were just a few months ago. And this is just incredible. Just watching him have, and he's in his element. You can tell he loves this. He absolutely feeds on this. This is like, he's just sucking it in right here. And if it weren't for security, he wouldn't even want to leave. There's no way they'd get him out of there. He'd just stay there and he'd walk around and dance and everything he possibly could to just let this soak in. Man, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Gets you all pumped up. Just want to run through a wall. That's how I felt like every rally we would ever take a look at. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome just seeing this happen once again. And he was obviously his normal self, where he would say the words that come out of his mouth and you never know what's going to come flying out, and he's just going to say it. And it was just amazing when he said that. I couldn't tell your boy, girl, whatever, just get out. Go home to mommy. Yes, they're going to have a problem with that. They're going to have a problem with all of it. They're going to have a problem with the energy. There's nothing to compare it. There's been no other politician who could do this. Forget AOC and Bernie. They can't hold a candle to this guy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, because I turn into a fanboy when these events happen. I literally turn into a fanboy and go, this is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I'm glad hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm happy. Armando says, I'm happy for America. James, the people's president. Yeah. One Trump rally, no teleprompter. Well, he did have notes and stuff, so yeah, that's fine. I still remember that day we were watching and you literally said, did someone shoot him? And yeah, I remember July 13th. We're all sitting here getting pumped up for that giant rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and like, whoa, that really happened. Maura, you're absolutely right. I think it's hard for us to even imagine that this was just 100 days in. 100 days in. Wow, absolutely wow. So just so you guys know, in the background, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors. And I've got all these different feeds pulling the same event in. And sometimes one will go down and I'll have to switch over. And it's why you hear a little bit repetition in terms of the speech, because I want to make sure I don't miss it, because things happen. It's a live stream and people are streaming in. I'm streaming out. Their feed goes down. And if you don't have the backup, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. But yeah, love this. Yeah, everyone's going to love this. Nobody can compete with a Trump rally. It's too much. And he didn't even have, in case some of you new people haven't seen it, that wasn't even like the full rally. See, the full rally, he'll bring out these guys who sing. I forget Chris Macchio. Chris Macchi, is that his name? The opera singer, and it just makes your skin just turn into alligator skin because it's just so compelling. I love it. I hope you guys love it as well. I'm so glad that Trump did a rally. Yeah, this gets us energized, re-energized. Absolutely. Let's see here. So one of the things, yeah, this is even better because I'm not worried about him getting into the White House, so it makes it even better. He's already there. Doesn't look like anyone is unimpressed and his ratings are low. Yeah, that's a complete lie. So updating you on the news that came out, that judge who they arrested has now been tossed off the bench temporarily by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So she got a whole bunch of problems. I mean, her career may be over. She may be going to jail. Good. And I hope that sends a message to everybody. And now what has happened, because the Supreme Court of Wisconsin has now suspended her, and they're putting in, obviously, movement to see what happens with the law case with her arrest, the media can no longer say he's picking on a judge. They didn't even want to look at the circumstances. They think that because it was her courtroom, you can do whatever you want. It was the most ludicrous of things that they were saying. And now, of course, it's not true. Right now, we know for a fact that, she's probably in all likelihood going to jail. Good. Good. Yeah, exactly. Susan Collins should be investigated. Oh man, there's going to be a whole bunch of people. It's coming. It's coming. So they did not release tonight who the deal was going to be with whichever country it is. They didn't release that tonight, so we won't know. And we'll wait. We're all energized right now. He spoke for almost 90 minutes. Like usually you guys who have watched rallies, you know he's customarily late. Today he walked out right on time. He was walking in at 6 o'clock. Hit the stage and he just got off and literally 90 minutes. So the guy was energized. Just imagine, this guy's 78 years old. Arguably flying around in a flying hotel. I mean, it's the best transportation probably in the world, but still nonetheless, he's 78. Whatever time he woke up this morning, if he slept last night, and he talked to the press on his way out, then he flew out to Michigan. 2 speeches. So if you didn't see earlier, I covered the speech where he talked to the guys in the military. So he did that speech and then limoed over to this venue and then did a rally. So he did probably close to 2 hours of talking today. Then he's now going to get back on a plane, get freshened up, fly back, and sometime, I don't know, probably about, let's say, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, he's going to do a gaggle in Air Force One. Before they even land, he'll be talking to the press again. And the guy just doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to cut things off now because I got to go ahead and edit, believe it or not. I'm going to have to edit the video because the part where they showed the jail in El Salvador, YouTube doesn't like that you show these guys having their heads shaved and dragged around in handcuffs because I guess they're fifis. The people who look at things don't like that. It's kind of violent. So I got to go ahead and edit out what amounts to being 3-4 minutes, from 1 hour and 33 seconds to 1 hour and 36 seconds, 37. I'm going to have to delete that. So if you watch this on replay, that part will be cut because otherwise they will have a problem. That being said, let me just check here. I'm going to sign off. Hold on, before I do that, what I want to do is read any super chats that are here and thank anyone for that. Tomorrow, I don't know the schedule as of yet because they don't post it until 7 a.m. So I don't know if I'll be going live at 12 or 1, depending on what they have put together. Hold on. I know what I can do also. I don't know if you guys saw the rest of this. Let me finish with, before I sign off, it seems like people are still watching. I'm going to show you the pre-show. There's like probably 6 minutes or so left in this video, and it's just showing like people who were excited about the actual event today.
people were apprehended at the border in the month of April, compared with 248,000 in the month last year, 1 year ago. That's the migration and immigration story. Now let's take a look at inflation. You and I talked about eggs a long time ago. The price of eggs are down 50%. Look at where mortgage rates are down. Look at oil prices are down. So when you take a look at what President Trump said that he was going to do, it is a huge success in terms of these first 100 days.
These people are clueless. If the first 100 days of Donald Trump tells us anything, it's that the American people voted him in to do exactly what he's doing, and it's promises made and promises kept in 100 days. And by the way, it's like we have 2 press conferences a day. I mean, Joe Biden, he called a lid before he got out of bed. Who even knew the man was the president?
But you're not even exaggerating. Today he's going to have another cabinet meeting on camera.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot.
Caroline is going to have a press conference at 8:30 with Bassett, and then tonight he's doing a rally to celebrate the 100 days in Michigan at 6 o'clock.
There's no question. The man has more energy than anyone I know, any of us. He goes 24/7. He is committed. He's a fighter. He's learned that you cannot buckle at all, whether it's DEI, whether it's men and women's sports, whether it's deporting illegal aliens.
The first 100 days, what grade would you give Donald Trump and why?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 20.
And why 20?
I feel safer. I feel more confident. I know who's running the country, and we haven't for the last 4 years. I think the economy is going to come around. I love the people that he's picked for the cabinet.
See, the media they don't understand this. They have no idea that people are so pumped. On a scale from 1 to 10, 20. We, as Trump supporters, we as Americans, we feel this. We can feel the difference. We can see the change. And the Democrats, for whatever reason, they can't accept it. They want the newcomers. They don't care. They want you to take more. They want to take more of your money and tax you. It's insane. Absolutely insane.
I think everybody is just doing a top-notch job, and I love Doge.
Think about it this way. What Apple said is they're going to spend $500 billion building everything that they make except for their consumer small products, right? They're going to do all their AI, all their supercomputers, everything they do in scale, they're going to build in America for $500 billion. So I talked to Tim Cook the other day. I said, when are you going to bring the iPhone? Right? When are you going to bring the iPhone? He said, I need to have the robotic arms, right? Do it at a scale and a precision that I can bring it here. And the day I see that available, it's coming here, because I don't like to employ all these people foreign. That's my biggest risk. What if in China there was a strike or there was social unrest?
Another pandemic.
Right, and all of a sudden I lose it. So he wants to build it here. He's going to build it here. And Americans are going to be the technicians who drive those factories. They're not going to be the ones screwing it in. People just take my statements out of context. Americans are going to work in factories just like this on great high-paying jobs. They're going to be trained as technicians, and they're going to have the new industrial revolution. Let's call it the AI industrial revolution. And this is going to give them great jobs, and their children are going to have these great jobs. And we're going to go back to the society we knew, but with factories that look like this, extraordinary factories.
I know tariffs.
So he was sitting in a huge factory, sort of like what Elon Musk is building. And I wanted you to hear that, because I keep hearing it, which means you keep hearing it. For the factory that you used to work at, or your dad or your grandfather, those aren't the new American factories. This is AI. Notice what he said. He didn't say assembly person. He didn't say a stocker. He didn't say, I don't know, somebody who's changing the light bulbs. He said a technician. You're going to have to learn, if you're going to be a part of the new economy, you're going to have to learn about AI. You're going to have to learn how it runs. You're going to have to learn how to use these systems. And those things don't come cheap. You'll get great jobs. So encourage your kids and your grandkids to start learning as much about technology as they possibly can.
We've got everybody scared, and I'm willing, I think, too, to go through a little bit of initial pain. Nobody likes to pay more for anything. I don't, but in the long run, I think it's going to be good. I'm on board with the mission.
I'm optimistic. I'm really very optimistic. And I know that right now with the tariffs that there's a little bit of pain. Things are happening right now that we're not in a good place. Are
you willing to accept that pain for the time being?
Well, I don't think I'm an instant gratification person. I think that sometimes you have to go through a little bit of the fire to get to the end of the rainbow.
He's doing what needs to be done. It's hard for some people to swallow, but I think we need to see how it plays out, and I believe it will play out for the betterment of our country.
I've been telling people here in the Detroit area when they voice any type of concern about the tariffs, because not everybody follows the issue as closely as I do or members of Auto Workers for Trump, my group. So I tell them, just be patient, have faith, and trust Trump. This guy wrote the book on negotiations. So the first thing he did was a 90-day pause on the tariffs to give his negotiating team, guys like Howard Lutnick and Steve Bessent, a chance to negotiate with some of our top trade partners. And he's going to put together good trade agreements, not like the ones that have gotten us $37 trillion into debt and lost 90,000 manufacturing plants over the last 30 years. He's completely changing our trade table and going to negotiate plans that benefit Americans, not foreign countries and foreign companies. So I told everybody I've spoken to here in the Detroit area, be patient, have faith, trust Trump, watch this guy work. He's a master, and we have 100% of confidence in his ability to negotiate good trade deals, Todd.
Right.
Again, we're joined by my friend here. It's 93 rally.
This is my 93rd rally for our real most beloved patriot, peacemaker president, sir. So this is my 93rd rally. Before that, I was at Capital One Arena for the parade, Jan 20, and I was standing exactly in the front row, and I'm so lucky and I'm blessed that I got the Sharpie after he signed the historical executive orders. He threw the Sharpie, he tossed up the Sharpie, and I got one. So I was first there in that MAGA rally as well. So I attend this many rallies. Wherever our honorable real president goes, I just follow him. I want to support him.
So the mainstream media might have a problem with this guy. Of course, they have problems with guys like me. It's a big tent, and they can't accept that. Do you realize yesterday or the day before, everything kind of blends together, when the Philadelphia Eagles went to the White House? Well, the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, didn't show up. But the star running back, Saquon Barkley, was actually flying with President Trump. And so there were so many people going after Saquon Barkley simply because he was a black man, NFL player who decided to fly around with President Trump. They have to keep you on that plantation. The Democrats cannot exist when people start looking for real American life. They can't. So they just keep trashing people. He got all kinds of inundation with people saying bad things about him, cussing him out. How could you? You're a traitor to your race. Like, y'all can kiss my behind. None of you know who I am. None of you know anything about me. And, they're all, even there's some people on ESPN were talking crap about him. See, as soon as you get off that plantation, they realize they've lost you. You're done. You're never coming back. Nope. And you realize you've been lied to. So this gentleman, hats off to you.
To cheer him, and whatever he say, he's the man of his words. He kept promises, whatever the promise he made. So I really like him so much.
Can you share with us, you were rallying up this crowd earlier. You want to do that again?
Yeah, sure. Guys, USA! 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 USA!
I really appreciate how he's taking care of the border, because nowhere on this planet would I be allowed just to go and set up house in any other country, anywhere on the planet. So I really appreciate that. And I became a citizen in '95, and so I know what the world is like out there.
So true. And what country did you come from to become an American citizen here?
Honduras, legal.
The legal way, that's right. So how was that process for you, and did it make you more proud to become a citizen the legal way?
I was very proud when I did. However, I came with my parents, so I came as a child. And back then, in the 60s, it was easy, to apply to come into the country. So they didn't have any problems.
Awesome, and it's wonderful that you became an American citizen the correct way. It's very inspiring to talk with other immigrants who have done the same, and some immigrants that have come to this country the right way are some of the most patriotic people that I know, because like you said, you know what it's like in the other countries, so to come live here the American way was a dream for a lot of people.
That's very true, and it wasn't until 2020 that I realized what actually was happening, and that's when I said to myself, I did not become a citizen for this. I didn't sign up for this. And so we've gotten very involved politically, which is something I never, ever, ever imagined doing. Door knocking and petition, circulating and all that stuff. Never in my lifetime, but here we are. Because I encourage all Americans, get up, go out there. The very least, attend your school board meetings, your city council meetings, township meetings. That's the very least you can do. So please.
I just want to say thank you to the fanfare community. And if you're new here, I'd like to take a moment and welcome you. If you watch my videos, you've probably realized at this point that this isn't your usual podcast. The difference is that every single day, I try to make this show an open conversation amongst friends. You see, I believe that speaking to friends, here and in your own circle offline, is the best way to push back against all the lies being told by the Democrats and the media. I encourage people in this community to welcome each other, and in doing so, become a source of support for those seeking to unplug from the matrix. If you'd like to communicate on a deeper level, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, but if you'd really like to surround yourself with like-minded patriots, join our free and private X group by going to fanfareshop.org/group. When you join this free group, a few things will happen. One, if you haven't used X before, you can use X without venturing into the sewer that it sometimes can be. Two, you can share content with friends that you meet here. 3, you will get notified every time I go live, so you can't count on YouTube notifications. And 4, and this might be most important, you get content that I can't share on YouTube or Rumble. So please take a moment and join our free and private X group. Just go to fanfareshop.org/group. Remember, it's members only. There are 16,000 plus people in that group right now, getting close to 17,000. To join our free and private members only X group, just go to fanfareshop.org/group. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I'm just looking at a comment. Somebody goes, I just noticed how white your beard is. I don't use Grecian or anything like that. That's just natural. Maybe I just need to shave it. Yeah, it's kind of bushy. Gotta shave it down. I'm surprised Robin hasn't been telling me, gotta fix it. All right, so let me go ahead and read super chats before we get off the air here. Thank you very much for tuning in for 3 hours. 3 hours. But you guys are troopers. You're a lot of you have been here for 3 hours many times. So I'm trying to get this thing straight without it flipping off for me. All right, here we go. Thank you, President Trump, for all you do. Thank you, Staten 2033. Daylight, thank you. Unforgettable Love, Barry, thank you for all you do. Please apply this to help pay for Bibles. Thank you very much. 900 Bibles. We're getting them out. Buddy Sanders, thank you. Shirlene Ferguson, thank you. Just a Girl, thank you. Tilly, phone in my hand, flashlight on, waving it back and forth. God bless you, President Trump. Yes, we needed that. Tilly, my heart flutters every time I see and hear President Trump. Barry, you always have our back. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes like my Robin said, she goes like, hey, you put up the feed was messed up, but I didn't notice it. I'm like, no, I just changed it on the fly. It may have skipped a little bit in terms of words, but yeah, I was able to move it very quickly. Tilly, God bless your sweet, generous heart, Barry. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Let me move back over here. Okay. Melvin Blodgett, we received our kimchi one yesterday and started taking it. We will let you know how our gut health improves in the next few weeks. Great company. Now, let me tell you about that gut health. Oh, you know what gut health is? And make sure you're not too far away, because sometimes the gut cleansing can come upon you quite quickly, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. And I'll tell you about kimchi in a minute, as Melvin was talking about here. Christina Mozart, thank you, Barry. First time I watched the Trump rally live. It was awesome. And thank you for giving the psychiatric help to cure my mental illness of the Democrat Party. Anytime. Captain Danny, this is what winning looks like. Absolutely. I haven't played that in a while, have I? No, I haven't.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I love that little clip. Captain Danny again. Thank you, Barry, Robin, Ashley, and Mods. Ashley ain't here today. Ashley in vacation down in the islands. But she's probably texted me like 20 times during the show, so that's great. Thornton Maloney. If you guys don't know that handle, I just start laughing whenever I read Thornton Maloney. It's from the movie with Rodney Dangerfield. Hilarious. Back to School. Barry, after the midterms next November, how fast do you think the Dems will move to impeach him? I'm betting that's how they spend most of 2027. You're assuming they win. I don't know. How many communists are in this country who would vote against what they're seeing right now? I have no idea. Big Cat, God bless everyone. Thank you, Barry. Edward Hartman, a very amazing show. The rally is so great, brings back those Cunningham shows early last year. Great show. Man, I used to absolutely love those rallies. I mean, it was so much fun watching those rallies and hearing everybody. It was a completely different atmosphere. Without the drudgery of the nuts on the left that we have to talk about. You know, I was going to talk about them less, but people are like, you still got to show us the nuts. All right, I'll keep showing you nutty stuff. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I think it was Thornton. Was it Thornton? No, it was, let me go back here. Melvin Blodgett, who was talking about kimchi. And you reminded me of something, Melvin. So let me just tell you about it real quick before we go. And then we'll go into the after party. So there's a war happening right now. And that war that's happening right now is probably not where you think. It's in your gut. I know it's not easy to think about. It's a battle between good and bad bacteria, which can determine how you feel. Kimchi One from Bright Core Nutrition is the fermented superfood your body needs to arm the good guys with the right weapons to defeat the bad actors once and for all. Containing over 900 strains, 900 different strains of beneficial bacteria in each capsule. Kimchi One supports healthy digestion, fortifies your immune system, and helps detoxify your body. You know what that means? You get to be a little bit regular. Kimchi has also been shown to reduce risk of obesity. Nobody say nothing. Nothing in the chat. And promotes smaller waistlines by curbing appetite and naturally boosting your metabolism. That's after I just texted Robin and said, could you please order me dinner? And so when I get off, curbing the appetite. Well, it lasted until 8 o'clock. So, and today you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below or just typing that link into your browser. You can use the code Barry for 25% off the entire order, or for an even better deal, which just like Kevin Demerit wanted, call them. Let them talk to you about your appetite and your gut. Call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. 888-418-6738. All right, everybody. So right now I'm going to cut to the after party. And those of you who haven't been here before, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, people were like, when you get off, we still like talking to each other. Is there any way you can extend it? I'm like, okay, if you guys want to hang out, I'll do it. So there's this thing we do here called the after party. And so I disappear and go do some stuff and get some things cleaned up, but the video stays running, and it's, just some calming music, but everybody can continue chatting. You don't have to stay. There's no obligation to stay, but if you choose to, you're able to talk to the Fanfare family and get to know some of the people you will continue to see if you frequent our videos. So, thank you guys for tuning in since, yesterday? 3 hours and 10 minutes. Here comes the after party.